The 70-year-old general had just died on the battlefield for his country. Unexpectedly, his mansion was tightly surrounded by 100,000 Imperial guards. The Empress even issued 72 Imperial edicts in a row, intending to poison me, the only legitimate son of the general. Seeing two soldiers carrying poison wine striding toward me, I on the contrary was not angry but overjoyed. Because just 1 second before receiving the edict, I awakened the rebellion service system. As long as I sign in, I can summon a half-saint guard. If I slay Imperial generals and destroy the foundation of the dynasty, I can even obtain 100,000 dragon cavalry. Looking at my calm and indifferent expression, the old eunuch was instantly left utterly speechless. A piece of trash who cannot cultivate is actually still so crazy when death is at hand. So he ordered the two soldiers to pry open my mouth, preparing to forcefully pour the poison down my throat. At this critical moment, the cold mechanical voice echoed in my mind once again. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining the half-saint guard Su Chu. As soon as the voice faded, a burly and fierce general suddenly jumped out from behind me, while an explosive roar resounded through the sky. How dare you rats offend my lord? In an instant the two soldiers who were prying my mouth were instantly blown into a mist of blood, while 20 soldiers further away spat out fresh blood, and then fell to the ground unable to rise. Seeing this, the old eunuch's heart immediately shook violently. This powerful aura definitely belonged to a half-saint without a doubt. You must know that in this era where martial emperors are extinct, and martial saints are as rare as phoenix feathers and unicorn horns, a half-saint is a top-tier existence on this continent. But what I didn't expect was that the old eunuch actually became arrogant again in the next second. Because this time, in order to pull up the prince of Jinbei's mansion by the roots, the Empress also specially left a group of hidden dragon guards as a backup. And the hidden dragon guards were the exclusive guards of the great Zhou royal family. And every single one of them was a top-tier expert who killed like flies. Even the weakest among them were above the martial king realm. With a command from the old eunuch, in an instant, over 10 black silhouettes emerged from the void. Like emotionless killing machines, they all viciously lunged toward me in the blink of an eye. Even upon seeing the half-saint realm Su Chu beside me, they were not afraid in the slightest, courting death. Seeing this, a flash of hostility passed through Su Chu's eyes. Then a sharp long blade suddenly appeared in his hand, and he then charged madly toward the group of hidden dragon guards, accompanied by a few painful wails. Those 10+ hidden dragon guards were uniformly chopped in half at the waist. Their intestines and organs were scattered all over the ground. After dealing with these small fries, Su Chu did not finish off the old eunuch with a single strike, but instead took large strides to stand before me, then knelt on one knee, carrying a trace of fanatical loyalty on his face. My lord has been startled. I on the other hand helped him up and said calmly, General Su, no need for such formalities. Please rise quickly. At the same time, the old eunuch on the side also had weak legs, and a foul-smelling liquid spread out like a map drawn on his pants. Even though he was terrified to the extreme, he still suppressed his fear and roared at me. Rebellion. This is rebellion. Lu Yuan, are you truly going to defy the imperial decree? Outside the city are the 100,000 imperial guards I brought. Soon their iron cavalry will trample the entire prince's mansion. Hearing this, my expression instantly turned cold. Good heavens! To take me down, this Empress Zhou Linglong actually even brought the imperial guards who protected the capital Chang'an. It seems this Empress feared my father's outstanding merits would overshadow the throne to such a hysterical and crazy extent. Since I've decided to rebel, I might as well walk this path to the very end. Thinking of this, I ordered Su Chu kill him. Just as the old eunuch heard this and wanted to beg for mercy, a gleaming white blade was already chopping toward his neck. Ding! The host's subordinate has slain 20 martial kings, 5 martial emperors and 2 martial ancestors. Obtained 275,000 luck points, awarding the host the exclusive legion, 100,000 Great Snow Dragon Cavalry. They have now been automatically deployed outside the city. Hearing this, I couldn't help but tilt my head back and roar with laughter toward the sky. I heard that Guangling knows no cold, as the Great Snow Dragon Cavalry descends upon Jiangnan. In my past life, this legendary Dragon Cavalry Legion was the invincible #1 cavalry in the world. This perfectly filled the predicament of my lacking troops for rebellion. Just as I wanted to go and witness the magnificent bearing of the army, Unexpectedly, I was disgusted by the ground full of chopped corpses in front of the mansion. So I couldn't help but frown and say, "General Su, pay attention next time you draw your blade. Don't make the scene so bloody again. This place is the Prince of Jinbei's mansion after all. How am I supposed to entertain guests in the future?" He understood, my lord. Hearing this, Su Chu beside me immediately wiped the fresh blood off his broadsword. Then scratched his head and gave a simple honest smile. And this simple honest appearance was completely unlike the appearance of a descending god of slaughter from just moments ago. "By the way, my lord, that old eunuch just said there are 100,000 Imperial guards outside the city." As he spoke, a hint of worry couldn't help but appear on Su Chu's face. Even though he was a half-saint, he still felt somewhat powerless facing a 100,000 strong army. I however had a face as calm as water and said, "These 100,000 Imperial guards came at the perfect time. Perfect for the great snow dragon cavalry to practice on." On the other side, outside Yubei city, the 100,000 Royal Imperial Guards had already set up camp. But the commanders were not discussing military intelligence. Instead they were hugging beautiful concubines, drinking and dancing in the tent. Because in their eyes, after the old eunuch read the imperial edict, a piece of trash like me would commit suicide on the spot. Their coming to assist was simply picking up free merits. The commander-in-chief Li Weiming couldn't hide the wild laughter on his face. Because he didn't care at all about the so-called spoils scraped from suppressing the Prince of Jinbei's mansion. He completely looked down on it. On the contrary, what made him the most ecstatic was that the empress had ordered him to conveniently take over the northern territory, temporarily managing all matters of the northern territory. If so, the title of Prince of Jinbei would undoubtedly belong to him. Little did he know that danger was slowly approaching. Just as everyone was drinking and making merry, a general suddenly noticed that ripples appeared out of thin air in his wine cup. Originally he thought his eyes were playing tricks on him, but he didn't expect that the ripples not only didn't disappear, but actually vibrated even more violently. At the same time, the ground also began to shake along with it. Just as everyone was puzzled, unexpectedly, a captain with a deathly pale face rushed into the tent. "This is bad, Commander Li. Countless heavy armored cavalry are attacking from outside the camp." Hearing this, everyone was stunned. Where did heavy armored cavalry come from? Where did cavalry come from outside Yubei city? Could it be that the northern barbarian iron cavalry is attacking? But that's not right either. If the northern barbarian legions were mobilized, it's impossible for them not to have received any news. When everyone hurriedly put on their armor and went out of the tent, they found that there really was a white armored cavalry legion that had already broken through the camp's defensive fortifications. Now with the momentum of a thunderbolt, they thrust straight into the center of the army. "Kill! Kill! Kill!" For a time countless angry roars shook the heavens. Within the central army camp that stretched for miles, countless white-armored iron cavalry were frantically slaughtering. Like a heavy snowfall covering everything, they swallowed countless Imperial Guard soldiers within. It was just like slaughtering pigs and butchering dogs. Seeing this, the Imperial Guard generals who had just exited the tent were instantly dumbfounded. Because even though they had fought for many years, this was the first time they had seen such a tragic and fierce scene. Brothers quickly organized resistance. At this time the commander Li Weiming was the first to react, and then hurriedly ordered his subordinate generals. "Yes, sir." For a moment the major captains and commanders realized it in hindsight, and all hurriedly took the orders and left. And at this time, if there were a careful person, they would notice that although Li Weiming feigned calmness, his hands couldn't stop trembling. "It's over, it's all over." His face was deathly pale, looking at the scene on the battlefield with hollow eyes. He muttered to himself, having led troops for so many years, he was no mediocre person either. Now he could tell at a glance that his 100,000 Imperial Guards were already showing signs of defeat. Those white-armored cavalry moved like roaring thunder, and their charge was swift and fierce, having completely scattered the formation of the 100,000 Imperial Guards. What followed was an orderly division and extermination of the fleeing infantry, not giving them the slightest chance to gather and counterattack at all. After half an incense stick's time, under the desperate efforts of the major generals of the Imperial Guards, Li Weiming's side finally managed to gather 1,000 or 2,000 people. As for the rest of the Imperial Guards, they had all been slaughtered entirely, leaving absolutely no surrendered alive. "Form up." At this time, a whistle suddenly sounded from within the Dragon Cavalry Legion. Immediately after they were seen instantly abandoning the pursuit of the remnants, and then orderly forming up and gathering together. In a short time the entire white-armored camp was lined up as if carved from the same mold. No one made a noise, and not even a single horse neighed. It was so quiet that it made one feel oppressed. In contrast, Li Weiming's Imperial Guard formation was scattered, and their morale had dropped to rock bottom. Where exactly did this cavalry come from? At this moment Li Weiming couldn't help but curse in his heart. In less than 3 minutes, a full 100,000-strong army, and elites of the Imperial Guards at that, was actually slaughtered until only a few thousand remnants remained, not even having a shred of ability to resist. Seeing that the situation was hopeless, at this moment he only wanted to play safe and save himself. More importantly, there were still thousands of remaining soldiers to draw attention. He firmly believed that as long as he blended in among them, he would definitely be able to escape. Thinking of this, he roared in a low voice, "Retreat!" Then he pretended to retreat with a face full of unwillingness. But in reality, he was always ready to hide in the crowd and break out during the chaos. But just as Li Weiming gave the order to retreat, a hearty laugh suddenly rang out. "I have long heard of Marshal Li Weiming's great name. I wonder where Commander Li is planning to go?" Hearing this slightly familiar voice, Li Weiming was suddenly stunned. And then his face darkened. "Lu Yuan, Prince Lu. To think that you actually hid yourself so deeply, attacking the Imperial army without cause. Could it be that you're plotting a rebellion?" He looked like he was pretending to be ignorant, questioning me from a distance. If he had known earlier that such a fierce army existed under my command, he wouldn't have waded into these muddy waters even if beaten to death. How was this coming to pick up free merits? It was clearly coming to throw away his life. Hearing this, I smiled noncommittally. "Commander Li, at this point let's not hide and obscure things anymore. Why you came here? Both you and I know clearly in our hearts." After speaking, I lowered my eyes and secretly glanced around. Seeing this, the surrounding great snow dragon cavalry immediately began to quietly encircle Li Weiming's remnant forces. If it weren't for the fear that this guy might run too fast, and the dragon cavalry wouldn't catch up, I wouldn't have bothered to show up and talk nonsense to stall for time. Very quickly the dragon cavalry completed their encirclement. Seeing that the opponent could hardly fly away even with wings, I no longer had any interest in talking. So I gave an order to the dragon cavalry. "Send Commander Li on his way." As soon as the words fell, the dragon cavalry responded in perfect unison. Then there was a burst of clashing metal, as sabers and spearheads all pointed in Li Weiming's direction. The great snow dragon cavalry respectfully invites Commander Li on his way. In an instant 100,000 loud voices merged into one straight line, resounding through the entire sky. "Lu Yuanyu." Seeing this, Li Weiming was immediately dumbfounded. Why wasn't he playing by the rules? Shouldn't he try to recruit and accept surrender first? "Prince Lu, why are you saying such words? How come I don't understand?" At this time he was still playing dumb, vainly attempting to escape a disaster. However, the response to him was the cold and fierce roars of the dragon cavalry. "Kill! Kill! Kill!" But what I didn't expect was that, in the next second, Li Weiming actually made a thud sound, and kneeled directly at the front of the formation. That smooth speed left everyone present unable to react. Surrendered General Li Weiming begs the prince to take him in. From now on this humble general is willing to serve you like a horse and saddle. Li Weiming was seen kneeling prone on the ground, his voice reaching the extreme of subservience. Because in the face of staying alive, what were these empty titles of face and dignity? How could they be more important than one's life? At this moment he still clung to a sliver of hope, thinking that with his peak martial ancestor cultivation, I would probably recruit him as a talented asset, right? One must know that a martial ancestor was already a reasonably strong expert in any region. "Lord General." Meanwhile, behind Li Weiming, the remaining generals looked at Li Weiming kneeling straight on the ground, their eyes full of astonishment. Was this man kneeling on the ground really that majestic and imposing Grand General who commanded 100,000 Imperial city guards? Were our commander's knees really this weak? Seeing this, I suddenly burst into loud laughter. What's wrong? Could it be that Commander Li wants to defect to a rebel like me? My great Commander Li, you are the Marshal of the Imperial Guard Legion. If the Empress hears that you surrendered, wouldn't she be angered to death alive? Just as Li Weiming wanted to continue licking my boots, I shouted coldly instead. Commander Li, You are not even worthy of surrendering. Don't waste your breath anymore. You and your subordinates should just obediently accept your deaths. The reason I didn't accept his surrender was entirely because I didn't need this kind of person who betrays his master for glory. Conversely, killing him directly would make the system reward me with more luck points. Upon hearing my heartless refusal, Li Weiming instantly flew into a rage out of humiliation. He immediately stood up and said to the remnant army behind him, "Brothers, you all heard the words of the rebel Lu Yuan just now. He's completely giving us no way out. It's one thing to want me dead, but he actually refuses to let even you go. As things stand, we can only resist to the very end. Pick up your weapons and kill with me. For the country and the people. Eliminate this traitor. The first brave man will be rewarded with 10,000 gold. And promoted 5 ranks. If we win this battle, everyone will be promoted 3 ranks and rewarded 1,000 gold." Unexpectedly, Li Weiming's words actually stirred up quite a wave among the 2,000 remnant soldiers. Although they despised Li Weiming's character, as matters had reached this point, they also had no path of retreat. Furthermore, under heavy rewards there are bound to be brave men. For a time the eyes of the remnant soldiers also gradually became resolute. The rebel Lu Yuan is tyrannical and volatile, and bloodthirsty by nature. Since he won't give us a chance to live, then we'll carve our own way out. Charge! However, as a bloody line swiftly swept past, a few breaths later, Li Weiming and his 2,000 remnant soldiers didn't even make a splash before they all fell stiffly onto the ground. Their bodies and heads were separated far apart. Congratulations! The host's subordinates have slain 100,000 enemies, rewarded 276 million luck points. Congratulations to the host for achieving victory in a large-scale battle and completely wiping out the enemy forces. Rewarded 100,000 exchange points. Listening to the system's prompts, I smiled mockingly. This Li Weiming actually dared to resist at death's door. Just a mantis trying to stop a chariot. Just then, a 9-foot-tall brute wearing white armor, covered in fresh blood, knelt before me. This humble General Yuan Zhuozong greets my lord. So he was the commander of the Great Snow Dragon Cavalry, Yuan Zhuozong. General Yuan, please rise. Seeing this, I stepped forward with a smile and helped Yuan Zhuozong up, and at the same time casually opened his info panel. Name: Yuan Zhuozong. Realm: Peak Half Saint. Command stat: 97. Loyalty: 100. Peak Half Saint. At this time my expression couldn't help but light up with joy. Another Half Saint level general acquired. General Yuan, what is the strength of your Dragon Cavalry? To answer, my lord. Currently in the Dragon Cavalry, ordinary cavalrymen are peak martial practitioner experts. Centurions are peak great martial practitioner experts. Kiliarchs are peak martial king experts. Captains are peak martial emperor experts. And the commander, which is this humble general, is a peak half-saint expert. Hearing this, my heart couldn't help but tighten. To think that even ordinary soldiers were martial practitioner experts. One must know that in the Great Zhou Empire, a martial practitioner expert was enough to hold the rank of centurion, and a peak martial practitioner could even serve as a chiliarch in a city's garrison forces. Yet in today's Great Snow Dragon Cavalry, a peak martial practitioner was merely a common soldier. The world's #1 cavalry truly lived up to its reputation, having such an elite army. This was simply my gospel. As the saying goes, a gentleman must seek revenge for a grievance. General Yuan, this prince has a grudge I'd like you to avenge. I am willing to share my lord's burdens. Hearing this, Yuan Zhuozong promised loudly. The great Zhou Empress Zhou Linglong cannot tell the loyal from the treacherous. Arbitrarily murders the loyal and good. Presumably, there must be treacherous officials beside the Empress, constantly offering slanderous words. For the sake of the great Zhou throne, and even more for the peace of the world's commoners, we shall enter the court to clear out the evil around the monarch. At this moment, a cold light flashed in my eyes. Empress, oh Empress, since you are unjust, then you can't blame me for being unrighteous. Hearing this, Yuan Zhuozong took the order loudly with an expressionless face. What Empress or no Empress? In his eyes, she was absolutely nothing. Afterwards, he was seen waving his big hand towards the Dragon Cavalry. Great Snow Dragon Cavalry. Destination: Chang'an City. Move out. However, just as they were about to march out, a scout suddenly came to report. Reporting to the commander. We have captured a group of troops acting suspiciously. According to what they said, They claimed to be scouts from the Yubei city garrison. And on behalf of the city Lord Heilong. They were asking which faction we belong to. Heilong? Yuan Zhuozong looked at Lu Yuan in confusion. Oh, I know this person Heilong. He is the city lord sent by the Imperial court to take charge of Yubei city. Lu Yuan said indifferently. With such a huge commotion outside the city. Naturally, it was impossible to hide it from the city's garrison. But at the thought of Heilong's identity, a trace of hostility appeared in Lu Yuan's eyes. This Heilong was a loyal running dog of the empress. Logically speaking, the northern territory was the fief of his prince of Jinbei. And the power to appoint city lords should also belong to him, Lu Yuan. But ever since his father disappeared, the empress had bypassed him, dispatching her trusted aides to personally take over the major cities in the northern territory, completely stripping away his power. And this Heilong was the city lord responsible for taking over Yubei city. This Heilong is the empress's man. He deserves to die. Rest assured, my lord. I will execute all the captured men right now. Hearing this, Yuan Zhuozong on the side was full of indignation. And as he spoke, he was about to grab his blade and go kill them. However, Lu Yuan shook his head and spoke to stop him. General Yuan, wait a moment. Heilong deserves to die. But those soldiers shouldn't be killed. Lu Yuan's eyes flashed as he pondered. General Yuan, put the march south on hold for a moment. Now I will trouble you to make a trip. Exterminate this Heilong and all his cronies. And then take over Yubei city in my name. Incidentally reorganize the entire garrison of Yubei city. To ensure they are all fully loyal to me. Saying this, Lu Yuan threw the waist token of the Prince of Jinbei to Yuan Zhuozong. Since Heilong was the empress's man, then he had to die. As for those lower-level soldiers, more than half were the original crew left by his father. Loyal to his father. If he revealed the signboard of the Prince of Jinbei, he believed those people would naturally submit. Understood. Yuan Zhuozong naturally wouldn't dare defy Lu Yuan's order. Taking the waist token, he directly received the order and left. System. Open the lottery interface. I want to draw. Having arranged everything, Lu Yuan turned around and directly opened the system's lottery interface. Currently, he still had 3 million luck points that he hadn't used yet. Ding! System lottery interface has been opened. As soon as Lu Yuan finished speaking, a faint illusory interface appeared before him. Lu Yuan didn't hesitate, directly selecting the million-level Saint tier lottery. After all, the higher the tier of the lottery, the more cost-effective it would be. Ding! Host has selected the Saint tier lottery. System is drawing. Ding! Draw successful. Congratulations to the host for obtaining 300 shadow guards. Ding! Draw successful. Congratulations to the host for obtaining 50,000 trapped camp soldiers, Xianjin camp. Ding! Draw successful. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the intelligence organization, Drizzle. Lu Yuan spent all his luck points and performed 3 draws in a row. And the system's prompt sound also rang out 3 times consecutively. Shadow guards, Xianjin camp, and an intelligence organization? Seeing the 3 rewards obtained from the lottery, Lu Yuan's face couldn't help but carry a trace of joy. Just from the names alone, he knew that these 3 rewards were absolutely not ordinary. Sure enough, the system's introduction below verified Lu Yuan's guess. Shadow guards, leader, peak half-saint, deputy leader, ordinary half-saint. 10 captains, martial ancestors. Members, between martial king and martial emperor. Xianjin camp, commander, peak half-saint, deputy commander, peak martial ancestor. Kiliarchs, peak martial emperor. Centurions, peak martial king. Soldiers, great martial masters. Drizzle, leader, half-saint, deputy leader, martial ancestor. Regional heads, martial emperor. Bosses/captains, martial king. 100,000 members, between martial artist and great martial master. Note: the 100,000 members of Drizzle have been automatically dispatched to various parts of the continent, and have been arranged with proper identities. Lu Yuan nodded in satisfaction. Although the quality of the 3 rewards varied, they were all saint-tier rewards after all. Every organization had the existence of a half-saint, especially the Shadow Guards, which even had 2 half-saints. Although the Xianjin camp had fewer numbers than the Dragon Cavalry, their overall quality was considerably higher. Aside from Drizzle being a bit lackluster, Drizzle was an intelligence organization after all. And combat was not their strong suit. Very quickly, a massive crowd with powerful auras appeared beside Lu Yuan. Subordinating Mo, Shadow Guards, Gao Shun, Xianjin Camp, Yu Xiang, Drizzle. Greet my lord. Among them the three individuals with the most overwhelming auras stepped forward and paid their respects to Lu Yuan. Among the group of big men, Lu Yuan's gaze couldn't help but fall on Yu Xiang, who was the leader of Drizzle. This Yu Xiang unexpectedly had the appearance of a woman, and a stunningly beautiful woman at that. Gulp. Lu Yuan did not deny that he was fond of beauties. Seeing the great beauty in front of him, his eyes instantly widened and stared straight. Beautiful. Too beautiful. However, on the opposite side, seeing Lu Yuan's gaze become increasingly fiery, Yu Xiang suddenly panicked. The Adam's apple on the lowered neck immediately rolled down once. My lord, Yu Xiang gritted his teeth and hurriedly explained. My lord. Actually, I am a man. I use disguise arts to dress as a woman. Look. As Yu Xiang spoke, with a wave of his small hand, he impressively transformed from a peerless fairy straight into the appearance of a gentle young master in white robes. He was terrified that if he spoke a second too late, Lu Yuan would jump onto a man. The key point was that his loyalty was already maxed out, so he wouldn't even dare to resist. Hearing Yu Xiang's words, Lu Yuan directly revealed a face full of confusion. Seeing the other party do a transformation right in front of his face, Lu Yuan's face immediately darkened. A man? Holy shit. Bro. It's one thing for you to cross-dress as a woman, but even your name is so feminine. You almost made me misunderstand. However, Lu Yuan also faintly marveled in his heart. No wonder this Yu Xiang was the leader of the Drizzle organization. His skill in disguise arts was truly remarkable, successfully deceiving even him. Yu Xiang on the side also smiled bitterly. Originally, he had wanted to leave a good impression on Lu Yuan, purposely dressing up as a woman. Who knew he would almost throw himself into the fire? What no one noticed was that Mo, who was hidden in black clothes on the side, was looking at this scene thoughtfully. Those autumn water-like eyes exposed outside the mask were like the shimmering reflections of a deep pool, charming and deeply moving. After Yu Xiang's little show, Lu Yuan also lost his interest. At ease, Lu Yuan withdrew his intense gaze from the few women, putting away some of his peculiar little thoughts. Who knows if inside there are any cute girls with big DS? As for the other two leaders, there wasn't much to say. One was Gao Shun, leading the highly renowned Xianjin camp under him. Every single one of them was a burly man with a back like a tiger and waist like a bear, with an astonishing aura. One look and you could tell their combat power was extraordinary. And compared to the wildness of the Xianjin camp, the Shadow Guards were much more restrained, all dressed in black, revealing only a pair of eyes outside. Their aura was also extremely cold and sinister, like poisonous snakes hiding in the dark, easily overlooked, but always ready to deal a fatal blow to the enemy. It is worth mentioning that the characters summoned by the system, although they had independent thoughts and unique consciousnesses, they did not possess their past memories. Just like Gao Shun and Su Chu, even though they both came from the Three Kingdoms era of his past life, the two of them didn't know each other, nor had they heard of each other's titles. Right now the only thing they possessed was absolute loyalty to Lu Yuan. In front of the ferocious wolf and tiger-like dragon cavalry, Heilong's tiny force was truly not enough to look at. Yuan Zhuozong's actions were very fast. Just after Lu Yuan finished drawing the rewards, Yuan Zhuozong returned with his men, casually tossing a pile of heads onto the ground. Yuan Zhuozong dismounted, knelt on one knee, and reported to Lu Yuan. My lord, Heilong and his cronies have all been eradicated. The entire 10,000-man garrison of Yubei city has been fully reorganized, and the high-level officers have all been replaced with our own people. How was it? Did you encounter any obstacles? None. After displaying your token, the integration went exceptionally smoothly. That's good. Lu Yuan nodded. Yubei city. Although it was a major city in the northern territory, it was no comparison to the northern border garrisoned by millions of troops, with only a little over 10,000 defenders. Integrating them was naturally very easy. Ding! The host's subordinate has slain 6 martial kings, 2 martial emperors, and 67 great martial master experts. Obtained 32,700 luck points. Ding! Congratulations to the host for taking control of a city. Rewarded 100,000 luck points. Ignoring the system's prompts. It was merely 130,000 luck points. It could no longer pique his interest. Lu Yuan rubbed his chin. His eyes flickering. Now that Yubei city had returned to his control, it was time to march south and settle the score with the empress. Lu Yuan pondered for a moment, and then ordered the crowd. Order the city garrison to hold and defend Yubei city. Dragon cavalry and Xianjin camp. Move out. Destination: Chang'an city. At this time Lu Yuan seemed to have suddenly thought of something. He exhaled a breath, and instructed Yu Xiang with a faint tone. Yu Xiang, have your people keep an eye on the prince's mansion. If anything happens, try to protect the safety of the personnel inside. In this world he no longer had any close relatives left. Perhaps there were still some old people in the mansion who watched him grow up. But that was just the lingering affection of his previous self. Now he was going to do great things. He couldn't possibly waste his troops in such a place. Furthermore, Yubei city was located in the hinterland of the northern territory, and generally wouldn't suffer any incursions. He had arranged 10,000 defending troops, and had drizzle personnel look after it as much as possible. He had already done his utmost. If the empress truly became deranged and hysterical, then she couldn't blame him for being ruthless. He could only abandon the prince of Jinbei's mansion. As Lu Yuan thought about this, his mood returned to calmness again. Yuan's Wazong Gao Shun. Relay the order to the entire army. We depart for the south. Yes, sir. With a single command from Lu Yuan, the over 100,000 troops instantly set off in a mighty and vast formation. Northern Territory Yumen Pass. The Dragon Cavalry and Xianjin Camp, whose ordinary soldiers were all martial master experts, marched at a speed that could only be described as incredibly fast. In less than a day, they quickly arrived at the throat, connecting the Northern Territory to the Central Plains. Yumen Pass. This was also the junction between the Central Plains and the Northern Territory. Yumen Pass was extremely magnificent. Looking from afar, it looked like a giant dragon lying dormant on the earth. On both sides were tall, steep, and perilous mountain peaks, the terrain making it easy to defend and hard to attack. My lord, we have arrived at Yumen Pass. Lu Yuan nodded, his eyes flickering for a moment, unable to help but recall the various pieces of intelligence about Yumen Pass in his mind. Yumen Pass was built during the Great Zhou's period of weakness, to defend against the Northern Barbarian Empire. But ever since his father rose to power, and pushed the latest border passes to the frontier of the Great Wall, this Yumen Pass had almost become a mere decoration. The formerly magnificent Royal Pass had practically turned into a tourist attraction. However, ever since his father disappeared, the defending troops of this Yumen Pass seemed to become more and more numerous and more elite. Thinking of this, Lu Yuan couldn't help but sneer. It must be that since that time, the empress had already harbored thoughts of making a move against him and the Northern Territory. My lord, give this humble general half a day's time, and I will definitely be able to trample through this pass. Yuan's Wazong beside him said with absolute confidence. The Great Snow Dragon Cavalry was the #1 cavalry army in the world. Even if Yumen Pass was heavily guarded, it still couldn't stop the iron hooves of the Dragon Cavalry. Lu Yuan didn't answer, but instead cast his deep gaze far away toward Yumen Pass. At this time Yumen Pass had completely changed from its former laxity, becoming heavily fortified and strictly guarded. With a casual sweep of his gaze, Lu Yuan found that there were no less than dozens of elite squads on duty atop the city walls, especially some giant ballistas on the city walls, making Lu Yuan's gaze narrow slightly. Those giant ballistas were the Great Zhou's military standard heavy siege crossbows. They were incredibly powerful, capable of even killing martial emperors, and posing a severe threat to martial ancestor experts. And right now there were fully hundreds of such giant ballistas atop this city wall. Lu Yuan frowned slightly. If the Dragon Cavalry forcefully charged, it would inevitably cause significant casualties. A single volley from the enemy could potentially result in hundreds of losses. What's more, once this kind of national strategic level Great Pass is built, it is generally buffed by the mighty power of heaven and earth. Within the area it covers, it places a massive suppression on experts above the martial ancestor realm. He guessed this was also the heavenly Tao of this world. attempting to weaken the role of top experts on the battlefield, to prevent completely one-sided massacres. Otherwise, if a martial saint came and shattered the pass with a single palm strike, then what would be the point of building border passes? General Yuan, could it be that you already have a method to counter the giant ballistas on the walls? Lu Yuan pointed at the city walls, asking Yuan Zhuozong with a half-smile. Similarly, looking at the giant ballistas on the walls, Yuan Zhuozong's face was also full of apprehension. If they forcefully charged, he indeed had the confidence to take down this city pass. It's just that the casualties might be slightly severe. Yuan Zhuozong hesitated for a moment, as if afraid of Lu Yuan's dissatisfaction, but still gritted his teeth and said, "My lord, although those giant ballistas are a threat, our dragon cavalry are not vegetarians to be pushed around either. If the dragon cavalry charges close, these 100-foot city walls still cannot block us in the slightest." Hearing this, Lu Yuan raised his eyebrows and laughed. "General Yuan, if it's not necessary, there's no need to forcefully charge. Furthermore, siege warfare is inherently not the strong suit of cavalry." Lu Yuan was certainly not wrong. From ancient times to the present, who has ever used cavalry to storm a fortress pass? Yuan Zhuozong knew that Lu Yuan was right. The reason he suggested it was merely because he wanted to show off in front of Lu Yuan. This all right. Then what should we do next? Yuan Zhuozong nodded unwillingly, tentatively asking Lu Yuan, if we want to launch a long-distance strike on Chang'an, then this Yumen pass is a necessary path. Could it be that we're going to give up? Lu Yuan looked at the crowd, his gaze carrying a trace of contemplation. Aside from the dragon cavalry, the three newly drawn army groups were all very useful. But for now, Drizzle's role wasn't very big. Since it was an intelligence organization after all, one shouldn't expect them to have too strong a martial force. Though the Xianjin camp was strong, those giant ballistas on the walls weren't just for show either. A head-on assault would definitely result in heavy casualties. "My lord, I am willing to lead the Xianjin camp to conquer Yumen Pass for my lord." Understanding the current situation, Gao Shun immediately stepped forward and said with firm determination, "The Xianjin camp in capturing cities and plucking fortresses is all-conquering and indestructible. Taking down a mere Yumen Pass is practically as easy as turning over one's hand. We are also willing to contribute our strength for our lord." Shadow Guard leader Ng Mo and Drizzle leader Yu Xiang also consecutively requested orders. "Good." Lu Yuan laughed out loud. "I have already noted everyone's pure loyalty. However, for our next move, I already have a method." Lu Yuan's gaze then fell onto the Shadow Guards. Compared to the other legions, the Shadow Guards were different. The Shadow Guards focused on stealth and assassination. Evading those defenders to infiltrate Yumen Pass was simply a piece of cake. Moreover, the Shadow Guards were immensely powerful. Acting as inside agents to cause sabotage couldn't be more suitable. 300 experts above the Martial King realm, acting in a sneak attack, would be enough to turn Yumen Pass upside down. Then Ng Mo will lead the Shadow Guards to infiltrate Yumen Pass as inside agents, seize the city gates, and do your best to destroy the giant ballistas on the walls. Then cooperate from the inside with the Xianjin camp and dragon cavalry on the outside, and directly trample Yumen Pass. "Yes, sir." "Understood." Ng Mo and the others immediately nodded in agreement. Lu Yuan suddenly looked at the bowed head of Ng Mo with some confusion. He didn't know if it was just his illusion a moment ago, but why did he feel that Ng Mo's voice had a bit of a woman's crispness to it? However, Lu Yuan didn't think much of it. Perhaps it was just his illusion. At this time, Yu Xiang on the side suddenly volunteered and stepped forward. "My lord, I am also willing to go. I am also proficient in stealth. I might be able to help out as well." Seeing that Lu Yuan hadn't assigned him a task just now, Yu Xiang became a bit anxious. In the beginning, when he cross-dressed as a woman, it made Lu Yuan quite annoyed, and he was terrified of leaving a bad impression on Lu Yuan. Therefore he was eager to prove himself, and wanted to change Lu Yuan's view of him. "This all right. Yu Xiang will also go along." Lu Yuan hesitated slightly, and nodded in agreement. Yu Xiang's own strength was not weak either. As an expert in the half-saint realm, even if suppressed to the martial ancestor realm by the Great Passes formation, killing ordinary martial ancestors would still be a breeze. Not to mention Yu Xiang's methods of concealment and illusion were top-notch. infiltrating the pass to cause sabotage. Might even bring some unexpected surprises. Furthermore, with 3 half-sane experts leading the team now, they had even more certainty of success. Having formulated the strategy, Lu Yuan immediately ordered the dragon cavalry to stand by and wait for the opportunity, while the shadow guards and others directly infiltrated Yumen Pass. In the next second, the figures of Ng Mo and the others were seen slowly dissipating into midair. If one didn't observe carefully, no one would notice the faint, barely visible cluster of shadows on the ground. Chang'an, the political capital of the Great Zhou dynasty. At this time in the main hall of Chang'an, the court officials were deadly silent. As a profound fantasy world, the communication methods of this world were not much weaker than those in some sci-fi worlds. Not long after Li Weiming's Imperial Guard Legion was annihilated, Chang'an, tens of millions of miles away, had already received the news. Are you saying that Li Weiming and my 100,000 Imperial Guard Legion were led to annihilation by the Prince of Jinbei Lu Yuan? On the golden dragon throne, an imposing and majestic woman sat there. A full and voluptuous figure, high and perky breasts, and a cold, proud, breathtakingly beautiful face, wearing an elegant and luxurious gold-threaded phoenix robe, and a glazed winged phoenix crown on her head, which further accentuated a compelling noble aura. This was the current empress of Great Zhou, Zhou Linglong. Hearing Zhou Linglong's question, the officials below the dais instantly kept as quiet as winter cicadas. Don't be fooled by the empress's seemingly rippleless tone, as if she were very calm. But they all knew that this did not mean nothing was wrong. The calmer it was, the more turbulent the waves hidden behind. Yes, the Minister of War Yang Yen said, trembling with fear. Even with his peak half-saint cultivation, he still felt an immense pressure coming from Zhou Linglong. After Yang Yen finished speaking, the entire court fell into a deathly silence. No one would have expected that an ordinary prince of Jinbei Lu Yuan, the rumored piece of trash, would actually cause such a massive disturbance. Suddenly an 800 li urgent dispatch arrived abruptly in the royal court once again. A messenger soldier with a hurried face rushed into the court, knelt and said, "Reporting to your majesty, the rebel Lu Yuan has led 100,000 iron cavalry right up to Yumen Pass. The defending general of Yumen Pass is requesting reinforcements." As soon as this was said, the entire court instantly went into an uproar. Yumen Pass? This Lu Yuan, how dare he? Exactly. Once past Yumen Pass, it is the territory of our Great Zhou's central plains. Lu Yuan marching south to Yumen Pass. His intentions are glaringly obvious. Yumen Pass is the throat connecting the central plains and the northern territory, and also the inevitable path for the northern territory to march south, threatening Yumen Pass. Could it be that this Lu Yuan intends to rebel? But looking at the empress high above, whose expression was becoming increasingly gloomy, everyone instantly fell silent. The court returned to silence once again. He very well. After a long time, Empress Zhou Linglong suddenly let out a light laugh. It was just that this laughter was truly somewhat cold. What a fine Lu Yuan. In the years since Zhou Linglong ascended the throne, she had governed the entire Great Zhou in perfect order, with the country prospering and the people at peace, and national strength flourishing day by day. Wherever the imperial decrees reached, no one dared to disobey. Yet today this Lu Yuan actually dared to bluntly slap her face. If she didn't respond, the majesty of Great Zhou would be completely swept away. My lords, is there anyone willing to lead troops to reinforce Yumen Pass and execute the traitor Lu Yuan for me? The empress roared angrily. As soon as the empress said this, unexpectedly, not a single person in the royal court answered. Everyone secretly lowered their heads. There was only silence. After all, no one was a fool. A rumored piece of trash, suddenly rising to power, and even annihilating an entire elite Royal Imperial Guard Legion. This matter revealed weirdness everywhere. Who knew whether this Lu Yuan was actually playing the pig to eat the tiger? Anyone with a brain would definitely choose a temporary attitude of self-preservation. Fortunately, this deathly silence did not last long. Among the officials standing side by side below the dais, a young man with bright eyes and white teeth suddenly stepped forward and said aloud, "I am willing to eliminate the traitor for your majesty." This person was seen wearing a majestic and imposing armor, which represented that he belonged to the ranks of military generals. At this moment, in the gaze this man directed at Zhou Linglong, It was full of fiery passion, distinct from loyalty to a monarch. Within this fiery gaze, there was also a hidden trace of a different meaning, as if it were a kind of wicked and charming greed. "Oh, the heir of the Duke of Wu. Are you willing to solve this trouble for me?" Zhou Linglong sat upright on the dragon throne, seemingly unaware of the anomaly in this man's eyes. Seeing the other party step forward, the corners of her mouth curled up slightly, her bright eyes shining, and her eyes revealed full appreciation, without any concealment. But no one noticed that. Deep in the depths of Zhou Linglong's eyes, there was clearly a trace of disgust hidden. Obviously, the man's little actions just now were all taken in by her. Seeing Zhou Linglong's reaction from below the dais, the man was clearly even more excited. Haha. None of the officials in the court answered. Only he stood out, not only relieving the female emperor's embarrassment, but also bailing her out. Presumably he now has already gained the female emperor's gratitude and appreciation. "Please rest assured, Your Majesty. I, Zhao Kuanying, will definitely eradicate the traitor Lu Yuan, to rectify the laws of the nation." Zhao Kuanying was full of excitement, and loudly promised with a thick neck. He, Zhao Kuanying, had unparalleled talent. He was the youngest half-saint of the great Zhou, a mere Lu Yuan. Even if he had some abilities, but with him taking action, wouldn't it be an easy capture? Wait until he obtains great merit, gains even more trust from the female emperor, and becomes the female emperor's right-hand man. In the future he might even win the female emperor's favor, and then enter the central palace, ruling the great Zhou together with the female emperor. Even to the end he might be able to reverse the roles, and turn this great Zhou into the domain of his Zhao family. However, the carried away Zhao Kuanying didn't notice at all the other courtiers' gazes, which looked at him as if he were a fool. The Duke of Wu's lifelong heroic reputation. How could he give birth to such a stupid son? And to think he is a half-saint. Did he cultivate all his martial power into his head? But it's also good. Let Zhao Kuanying, this brainless guy, test the waters, to probe the true strength of that Jinbei king. Amidst the ulterior motives of the monarch and officials in the court, Zhao Kuanying still mustered 200,000 Imperial city guards, and marched off to reinforce the Yumen Pass. Yumen Pass. Among the Shadow Guard group, the ones with the lowest cultivation base were martial emperors. Therefore infiltrating the Yumen Pass was simply a piece of cake. I'll infiltrate the military camp first, to find traces of the enemy commander. You lead people to seize the city gates, and those giant crossbows that the Lord is wary of. Destroy them all if you can. Got it. Mo's voice remained cold and clear, responding indifferently. After Yu Xiong finished giving instructions to Mo, she immediately transformed into the appearance of a defending military officer, and then sneaked towards the depths of the pass. Looking at Yu Xiong's back, in Mo's exposed eyes, a flash of determination suddenly crossed. This was the first mission the Lord had assigned to him. He must complete it perfectly. Yi, you lead 2 teams to destroy the giant crossbows on the city walls. The other part of the men follow me to seize the city gates. In this operation, only success is allowed, failure is not an option. Yes. As Mo gave the command with a soft shout, the group of shadow guards quickly began to act separately. One by one their figures all blended into the shadows. On the city walls, the entire city wall, stretching for over a dozen miles, was already heavily guarded. Countless soldiers were standing in combat readiness. It was just that the attention of these soldiers was entirely focused outside the pass. After all, not far outside the pass were Lu Yuan's mighty forces of over 100,000 men. Some soldiers nervously gripped their weapons, their hands covered in sweat. However, they did not notice that the Grim Reaper had quietly descended beside them at this moment. Several sounds of blood spurting rang out. Next to a giant crossbow, the soldiers operating it were already decapitated. Destroy the giant crossbows. The shadow guards hidden in the shadows instantly revealed their figures. Following a few fierce attacks, the fragile crossbow ballistas had already been reduced to a pile of fragments. And at the same time, all across the city walls, wherever there were crossbow ballistas, the same scene was happening. Finally, on the city walls that stretched for over a dozen miles, someone finally discovered the presence of the shadow guards. Enemy attack! A shrill roar, and the entire city wall instantly plunged into chaos. Cursing, fighting, and cries of pain echoed endlessly. Quickly stormed the city gate hub. Seeing the outbreak of the chaos, Ing Mo's movements involuntarily quickened a bit. But the hub that controlled the city gates, after all, was an important location. An elite troop of several hundred soldiers was standing guard here. The leading general was even a martial ancestor powerhouse. Seeing Ing Mo and the others appear, the martial ancestor general stepped forward with a face full of hostility. Truly audacious. To dare break in here. I would like to see how many of you there are. The martial ancestor general still wanted to drop a few more harsh words, but who knew the scene unfolding before him would almost shatter his courage. Within the split second of a breath, the martial ancestor general only saw a breathtaking flash of cold light. In the next second, those hundreds of soldiers who were originally standing in combat readiness unexpectedly fell down in unison. Thud, thud, thud. Corpses hit the ground, stirring up clouds of dust. Looking closely, one could see that on everyone's neck was a glaring line of blood. And in front of the crowd, a relatively petite figure in black was bent over, maintaining the posture of drawing a blade. This is impossible. Seeing this scene, the martial ancestor general's face was full of disbelief. But just as he wanted to say something, he suddenly felt his own neck transmit an intense burst of pain. Reaching out to touch it, a large amount of blood spurted out. The martial ancestor general opened his mouth, as if wanting to say something, but ultimately collapsed unwillingly. I hate people who talk too much the most. Except for the Lord. Ing Mo, with a cold expression, retracted the dagger in his hand. Open the city gates, and welcome the Lord into the city. Inside the pass, the defending general of Yumen Pass was a marquis, named Li Shun. He was also a powerhouse at the peak of the martial ancestor realm. Inside the main camp of the pass, I can't believe that trash Lu Yuan has actually fought his way here. 100,000 troops. A touch of dread surfaced on Li Shun's face. The name of trash Lu Yuan was known to everyone in the entire northern region. But who could have imagined that a former piece of trash could now lead an army of 100,000 to knock on their gates? At this time, the lieutenant general beside Li Shun said comfortingly, General, we don't need to worry too much. We have already requested reinforcements from the Imperial court. Now we just need to hold Yumen Pass firmly and patiently wait for the Imperial court's reinforcements. With our 50,000 defenders relying on this majestic pass, even if Lu Yuan has 100,000 troops, he absolutely cannot break in, the lieutenant general said with full confidence. This Yumen Pass was previously a majestic pass used to defend against the northern barbarians. Lu Yuan's mere 100,000 troops wouldn't find it so easy to breach. Who knew that? Right after the lieutenant general made his confident guarantee, he was swiftly slapped in the face in the very next second. General, this is bad. The city gates have been breached. A school commandant covered in blood suddenly ran in terrified. What did you say? Hearing this, Li Shun and the lieutenant general jumped up from their seats in shock. Say that to me again. The gates are breached. The lieutenant general's agitated voice was almost distorted. The commandant nodded with a long face and said, Yes. A group of men in black infiltrated from who knows where. Every single one of them is a super powerhouse. They frantically destroyed the military crossbows on the city walls. Almost no one could stop them. They even seized the city gates. Now those men in black have thrown the gates wide open, and Lu Yuan's iron cavalry has successfully charged into the pass. After listening to the commandant's words, Li Shun suddenly felt a shortness of breath, and a spell of dizziness and blurred vision. Cavalry entering the pass. What exactly did this mean? No one knew better than these generals. This was a defeat? He hadn't even had time to go to the city walls to supervise the battle. General, how about we retreat? At this time the lieutenant general beside him said, shrinking his neck. This Lu Yuan is too fierce. Yumen Pass, a generation's majestic pass. Yet they didn't even last half an hour before it was breached. Retreat. Retreat. Li Shun was also somewhat panicked. Now he finally understood why Li Weiming and his 100,000 Imperial guards were annihilated by Lu Yuan. It was truly too terrifying. The troops under this Lu Yuan were simply inhuman. Quick to the stables. Prepare the horses. Right. I still have my personal guard battalion. Just as Li Shun was hurriedly exiting the camp, he saw a soldier in commandant's uniform strolling about. He immediately summoned him to his side. Hey you there, come here. Go immediately to the personal guard battalion. Pass on my military orders. Tell them to dispatch forces at top speed. To intercept Lu Yuan's army entering the city. Tell them to block them with their lives. And not to retreat. Although Li Shun's face was full of reluctance, he finally gritted his teeth and said cruelly. Right now he could only throw out his personal guards as bait. To buy himself time to escape. Stalling for even a moment was better than nothing. But at this moment, the panicked Li Shun failed to notice that the soldier he had waved over, upon seeing him, actually revealed a bizarre smile at the corner of his mouth. On the side of Lu Yuan's large army, although the defenders of Yumen Pass were all elites, but compared to troops like the Dragon Cavalry, and even the Camp Crashers, it was simply like a lesser sorcerer meeting a greater one. The martial prowess of the two sides was completely not on the same dimension. The ordinary soldiers of the Dragon Cavalry could arm wrestle with centurions. How could this battle even be fought? As soon as the city gates opened, Lu Yuan's massive army entered the city. The moment the two armies clashed, it was a one-sided slaughter. At the same time, experts like the Shadow Guards darted through the battlefield, specifically assassinating officers with slightly higher cultivation levels. This further exacerbated the collapse of the Yumen Pass defenders. Don't kill me. I surrender. Woo-woo. On the battlefield, defending soldiers who were terrified by the slaughter continually dropped their weapons while weeping bitterly, and knelt directly on the ground. As the saying goes, a defeat is like a landslide. The entire Yumen Pass soon fell completely into Lu Yuan's hands. Ding! Congratulations to the host's subordinates for killing 30,000 enemies. Gained 738,575 luck points. Ding! Congratulations to the host for winning a siege battle. Rewarded 100,000 luck points. Ding! Congratulations to the host for capturing a pass. Rewarded 100,000 luck points. Another massive wave of luck points was credited. Now Lu Yuan's accumulated luck points had once again exceeded 1,000,000. Meaning he could perform another saint-level draw. System. I want to perform a saint-level draw. Lu Yuan called out directly to the system. Points sitting in the account will always just be points. Only by converting them into combat power are they truly useful. Ding! Host has selected the saint-level draw. System drawing. Ding! Draw successful. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a Saint Realm Guard, Li Sandao. Lu Yuan was slightly stunned and then felt wild joy. Saint Realm. This draw was different from those previous Saint-level legions. It directly produced a Saint Realm powerhouse. A true Saint Realm expert. This is great, I finally have a trump card. Lu Yuan wore a look of joy and quietly breathed a sigh of relief in his heart. Actually, Lu Yuan had always been very anxious in his heart. Although he had several half-saints under his command, he did not have a true core pillar, a Saint Realm powerhouse. And according to rumors, the forbidden ground of the Great Zhou, the Dragon Court, had a Saint Realm ancestor. Now it was fine. A Saint Realm expert had emerged. And going to Chang'an he would have much more confidence. In the blink of an eye, a figure appeared beside Lu Yuan like a phantom. Subordinate Li Sandao pays respects to the Lord. A middle-aged man wearing martial training clothes knelt on one knee towards Lu Yuan, with a trace of fanatical loyalty on his face. Lu Yuan snapped out of it, and hurriedly stepped forward to help Li Sandao up. Sandao, please rise quickly. Lu Yuan was pleasantly surprised. This was a Saint Realm powerhouse. Looking closely, this Li Sandao's aura was restrained. Looking utterly ordinary. Like a normal person without the slightest cultivation. But Lu Yuan knew this was because his own cultivation was too low, resulting in his inability to sense the other party's hidden cultivation. If Li Sandao were to release his aura recklessly, just a trace could cause the physical body of a piece of trash like himself to collapse. This was a Saint Realm powerhouse. If he let Li Sandao go around destroying things, wouldn't he be able to gain massive amounts of luck points? Just as Lu Yuan happily thought of this, the system's prompt sounded. Ding! When the host's subordinates kill enemies, it will proportionally increase or decrease based on the cultivation levels of both parties. Lu Yuan's face instantly turned bitter. Fine. It seems the system has completely plugged all the loopholes. At this time Yu Xiang and Ing Mo also returned to report back. When the two saw Li Sandao beside Lu Yuan, their pupils suddenly dilated, and a sense of crisis instantly made their hairs stand on end. Don't be afraid, we are all on the same side. Lu Yuan smiled and greeted the two. Yes. Yu Xiong and Ing Mo looked at Li Sandao warily. They felt that the person before them could crush them to death with a casual wave of his hand. But fortunately he was one of their own. So there was nothing to worry about. So the two steadied their minds. And then reported to Lu Yuan. Lord, we did not fail our mission. The defending general of Yumen Pass Li Shun has been slain by your subordinate. Yu Xiong respectfully said as she tossed out a head wrapped in black cloth. Good, well done. Lu Yuan looked at Yu Xiong appreciatively. He had already learned of Li Shun's death through the system. This peak martial ancestor had contributed a large sum of luck points to him. Ing Mo Yu Shadow Guards also did very well. Your contributions in this battle to capture the pass are indispensable. Sharing the Lord's burdens is a subordinate's duty. In front of Lu Yuan, Ing Mo's voice suddenly became hoarse. To outsiders it sounded indistinguishable between male and female. Yu Xiong standing aside cast a strange glance at Ing Mo beside her. What was this woman up to? Why did she want to hide her voice? However, Yu Xiong didn't overthink it. Anyway, as long as it was guaranteed that Ing Mo was loyal to the Lord, that was enough. Lu Yuan on the side didn't notice anything and nodded gladly. Now that he had successfully taken Yumen Pass, the road south was a flat plain without any more obstacles. Yumen Pass's location was quite important, as it was the throat between the central plains and the northern region. Occupying Yumen Pass allowed one to advance to attack or retreat to defend. It definitely required some troops to guard it. Lu Yuan pondered as he stroked his chin. He also had to prepare a backup plan for himself. If his march into the central plains met with any setbacks, and his escape route through Yumen Pass was cut off, then he would truly want to cry, but have no tears. But which army would be best to leave behind? Lu Yuan was somewhat troubled. The 100,000 dragon cavalry was out of the question. This was his main force for marching south. The 50,000 camp crashers could work. But leaving such a powerful force to guard a pass, wasn't it a bit of a waste of talent? This was also a considerable aiding force. As for the Shadow Guards and Drizzle, these two special organizations were not armies, and were even less suited for guarding passes. Forget it, let's use the luck points to draw once more. And see if I can draw an army. Since none are suitable, I'll just find another army. Lu Yuan looked at the remaining 100,000 plus luck points in his account, which was exactly enough to perform another super draw. The luck points required for a super draw were 100,000, and the rewards were generally of the martial ancestor level, perfectly suited for guarding a checkpoint. Ding! Host selects super draw. System drawing. Draw successful. Congratulations to the host for obtaining an exclusive legion. 10,000 Befu soldiers. Befu army? Lu Yuan raised his eyebrows. He actually had no impression of this army. However, when he looked at the introduction provided by the system, a trace of joy appeared on his brow. Befu army. Commander, peak martial ancestor. Deputy commander, ordinary martial ancestor. Centurion, 1,000-man commander, martial emperor. Centurion, 100-man commander, martial king. Squad leader, great martial master. Soldier, martial master. Elite. Such an elite army. Could even arm wrestle with the soldiers rewarded from saint-level draws. Such a configuration placed within the rewards of a super draw was probably ranked near the top. The final General Xie Xian pays respects to the Lord. As the system reward was successfully issued, a burly man knelt on one knee and paid his respects to Lu Yuan. General Xie, no need for formalities. Lu Yuan smiled slightly. General Xie, this Yumen Pass will be left to you to guard. There are also 20,000 surrendered troops in the pass. I am giving you full authority to handle them. Only one thing. Ensure that all those left behind are loyal men. The final general will definitely not fail his mission. Xie Xian loudly accepted the order. By the way, General Xie. At this time Lu Yuan suddenly looked at Xie Xian with curiosity. Do you happen to have an older sister? Named Xie Daoyun? Yes. Xie Xian cupped his fists and nodded. Although he didn't have his previous memories, he naturally wouldn't forget his own blood sister. As expected, Lu Yuan was also enlightened. A single phrase, not as good as willow catkins rising with the wind, had tugged at the dream souls of countless scholars throughout the ages. It was just a pity. It was regrettable he couldn't catch a glimpse of the beautiful visage of such a wondrous woman, and could only look at her brother, this rough fellow. If only. Lu Yuan shook his head. What was he thinking? There were still many major matters at hand. Breaching Yumen Pass was just a minor interlude. After handing Yumen Pass over to Xiexien, Lu Yuan ordered the large army to set off again. After all, speed is crucial in war. Once the female emperor reacted and mobilized military forces from all sides to enter the capital to protect the emperor, it would be somewhat troublesome. Set out, continue heading south. Entering the Central Plains was like entering the sea. The vast flat expanse of the Central Plains. Lu Yuan had finally set foot on this land. Bayong City, Liangzhou. Liangzhou was the northernmost of the provincial counties belonging to the Great Zhou circuits, directly bordering the northern region. And Bayong City was Liangzhou's provincial capital. This city was only over 1,000 miles away from Yumen Pass. At this time, outside Bayong City, a mighty force of 200,000 troops was present. The leading general was a handsome young man with bright eyes and white teeth, wearing a flashy white armor. His whole body exuded a terrifying half-saint aura, acting unrestrained and flamboyant as if he took nothing seriously. That's right. This young general was the heir of the great Zhou's Duke of Wu, Zhao Kuanying, and the 200,000 troops behind Zhao Kuanying were exactly the reinforcements dispatched by the female emperor to support Yumen Pass. At this time, Zhao Kuanying had just led his troops to Bayong City, when suddenly an urgent military report was delivered into his hands. An urgent military report? Zhao Kuanying frowned and took it. Tearing open the envelope, Zhao Kuanying nonchalantly looked at the contents of the military report. However, once he clearly saw the contents of the letter, Zhao Kuanying's whole body jumped up. What? Yumen Pass has fallen. The defending General Li Shun has been killed. The Jinbei King Lu Yuan has crossed Yumen Pass and is leading his army, driving deep into our territory. Bang! Under his furious rage, Zhao Kuanying viciously slammed the golden whip in his hand onto the ground, directly smashing a deep pit into the earth. Humph! Li Shun, this piece of trash, actually couldn't even hold on for a single day. That is Yumen Pass. And it's just lost like that. Zhao Kuanying was extremely frantic. His eyes red as if he could swallow a person alive. It was no wonder Zhao Kuanying was so furious. Yumen Pass, as a fortress defending against the northern barbarians, could truly be called easy to defend and hard to attack. Yet in such a strategically perilous place, even a brain-dead person could at least hold out for a few days, right? Yet Li Shun couldn't even hold on for a single day before the city fell. It sounded fake. Humph! It truly infuriates me to death. However, the event had already happened. And even the defending General Li Shun had already been killed. Even if Zhao Kuanying had a belly full of frustration, there was nowhere to vent it. At this time, the accompanying Lieutenant General came forward to report another piece of bad news. General, the soldiers are all complaining that the march is too fast, and their suffering is unspeakable. 10,000 miles in a day has already reached their limit. Moreover, the swift march talismans have been used up, and the marching speed has also slowed down. Look. The swift march talisman was a commonly used military spell talisman in the army, created by talisman masters. Talisman masters were the same as cultivators. It was just two different cultivation systems. And the effect of the swift march talisman was just as its name implied, increasing the marching speed of an army. If it weren't for having swift march talismans, the millions of miles of distance from Chang'an to Yumen Pass, even if every soldier possessed a cultivation base, could not possibly be crossed so far in a single day. Seeing that Yumen Pass could not be reached, looking at his troops, whose men and horses were exhausted due to the forced march, Zhao Kuanying's eyes flickered for a moment. He could only make an expedient choice. All right, order the entire army to abandon Yumen Pass and temporarily enter Bayong City to replenish supplies. For the sake of the forced march, the army led by Zhao Kuanying had all traveled light. Apart from weapons, they hadn't brought anything. They had originally planned to restock once they reached Yumen Pass. Now that Yumen Pass had been breached, he could only find Bayong City, the nearest major city, to restock. Bayong City was the provincial capital of Liangzhou, and at the same time the most prosperous city in all of Liangzhou. Originally, the plan was just for Zhao Kuanying to pass by, not to lead his army into the city. Therefore, Bayong City was completely unprepared for this. And now a sudden change of plans naturally caused a bout of chaos and commotion. On both sides of the bustling streets were the stalls set up by ordinary small merchants and peddlers. As the mighty troops entered the city, Some wily old veteran soldiers took advantage of the gaps during the army's march to sweep through the small vendors along the street. Haha, hand it over. The veteran's eyes gleamed with the desire to strike it rich. Pillaging upon entering a city had already become their routine. Whether it belonged to the enemy or their own side, they treated it all the same. And those military officers also turned a blind eye. These soldiers made a living with their heads tied to their belts. Only by satisfying their greedy hearts could they be made to risk their lives on the battlefield later. Moreover, those being robbed were all lowly commoners. So it didn't matter. By the roadside, a gray-haired old man in ragged clothes was pleading tearfully to a common soldier. While in that common soldier's hands, he was forcefully yanking away some precious mountain herbs. Please don't, sir soldier. If you take these things away, my 3 months of hard-earned money will be gone. Sir soldier, I beg you. These medicinal herbs took the old man 3 months of time, risking his life to gather them from deep mountains and old forests. Selling them for money was also his whole family's hope for survival over the next 3 months. Get lost, dead old man. Delay me any longer and don't blame me for being impolite. The veteran cursed viciously. Seeing the old man clinging on desperately and unwilling to let go, he immediately out of impatience kicked towards the old man. His leg was seen bringing up a gust of wind, and the old man, hunchbacked and emaciated, was like a candle flickering in the wind. If this heavy kick landed solidly, this sexagenarian old man would definitely lose half his life. The soldiers watching on the side just looked on laughingly, surprisingly indifferent. At most someone would die, that's all. Watching it was treated as a piece of entertainment. The innocent small vendors around couldn't bear to watch this scene, all turning their heads away. Their hearts were filled with deep sorrow. They were the common people of the Great Zhou after all. It was bad enough that the Great Zhou's official army didn't protect them, but they even came to bully them. Some young men who still had some hot blood couldn't help but clench their fists. But upon thinking of the formidable strength of these Imperial guards, they couldn't help but dejectedly loosen their grip. What could be done about this? Going up now would only mean death. They were just ordinary people. That's true. Who would care about the life or death of ants? Just as the tragic scene was about to occur, an angry and delicate shout suddenly echoed from far down the street. Despicable! Are you still soldiers of the Great Zhou? Why are you bullying an innocent old man? Everyone was stunned and immediately looked towards the sound. They saw at the street corner a young girl with an exquisite figure, wearing a hot leather armor, looking proud and arrogant, was glaring angrily at the veteran committing violence in the streets. The veteran sneered grimly, ignoring the girl's voice, and his foot still showed no mercy. Right before the old man was about to suffer disaster, the girl's agile body lightly flashed and appeared directly in front of the veteran as if teleporting. Get lost! The girl shouted angrily, and immediately struck out a palm towards his chest. The veteran only saw an afterimage flash before his eyes, and before he had time to react, he felt his chest as if it had been smashed by a sledgehammer. Then his whole body was sent flying backward. Pain! Too painful! The girl had struck very heavily, and the veteran's chest caved in by a few centimeters. Unsurprisingly, his sternum was broken. Hiss! The veteran fell heavily to the ground, only having enough time to draw in a breath of cold air before grandly passing out. The soldiers watching from the sidelines only now reacted, looking at the fainted veteran, and then looking at the girl maintaining her attacking posture. They instantly felt as if facing a formidable enemy. Enemy attack! Swish, swish, swish! Instantly countless weapons were all pointed at the girl. The group of soldiers instantly surrounded the girl tightly. Seeing this scene, beneath the girl's fluttering beautiful hair, a pair of eyes full of disgust looked at everything. Humph, truly snakes and rats of the same hole. A bunch of scum. Old man, are you alright? Although she was pointed at by so many weapons, the girl remained unhurried and unpanicked, looking with concern at the old grandpa beside her. I'm fine. It's just, miss you standing up for me has brought a massive trouble upon yourself. The old man looked fearfully at the surrounding soldiers, tears glistening in his cloudy eyes. What a nice girl. It's just a pity. For the sake of a wretched old man like him, she provoked this bunch of goddamned beasts. Escaping from their hands would be difficult now. At this time more and more soldiers heard the commotion and surrounded them. Seeing the girl's delicate and gorgeous face, a wicked thought suddenly surfaced on these soldiers' faces. Damn, capture her alive. It's been so long since I've seen such a beautiful woman. Haha, brothers, don't rush. When the time comes, everyone can take turns one by one. There's a share for everyone. I am already dying of thirst. I am the commandant, I have the highest rank here. Let me enjoy her first. Hearing the foul language of the soldiers, the girl frowned tightly, and the disgust on her face grew even stronger. Old man, rest assured. I don't believe that anyone in Bayong City can do anything to me. The girl looked at the opposite soldiers with disgust. This group of people was truly too disgusting. As Great Zhou soldiers, they actually oppressed Great Zhou commoners, truly bringing shame to the title of Great Zhou elite troops. The girl was seen unhurriedly, flipping her hand casually, and unexpectedly, a voice transmission token appeared out of thin air in her hand. Daddy, if you don't come quickly, you'll never see your daughter again, the girl said through gritted teeth, with a cold pretty face to the token. Seeing the girl call for help, the surrounding soldiers were not only unafraid, but immediately burst into uproarious laughter. Yo, calling for help? I'm dying of laughter, Daddy. If you're scared, just call us Daddy directly. Hee, the little wench is calling for her father. All right. Let my respected father-in-law come over to recognize this group of fine sons-in-law of his. Haha, which father? Your daddy, I am right here. However, if you cry out again later, I'll be even more excited, yo. A group of veterans spouted all sorts of obscenities one after another, completely ignoring the girl's face becoming more and more frosty. In the eyes of these veterans, the girl in front of them had at most a martial king cultivation. Although she wasn't weak, they were the Imperial guards of the capital. Martial king? There were 2 military experts at the scene alone. As for the girl taking out a token to call for help, they didn't even put it in their eyes at all. Still, that same sentence. They were the Emperor's personal guards defending the capital. Today, even if the King of Heaven came, it wouldn't matter. This breathtakingly beautiful girl in front of them must be taken down and ravished fiercely. Looking at the increasingly arrogant group of soldiers, the anger surged in the girl's eyes. Her temper was originally not good, and now being provoked by words, her wave-like curves suddenly heaved up and down violently from anger. When the surrounding veterans saw this scene, their eyes almost popped out, and their determination to take down this girl became even firmer in their hearts. But in the next second, these veterans could no longer laugh. A few breaths after the girl called for help, from the direction of the Bayong City Lord's mansion, a massive aura suddenly surged forth. Swoosh! A tall figure enveloped in a dazzling stream of light suddenly lunged towards this place. Hemph, let me see which dog wants to be my daughter's daddy. The voice arrived before the person did, accompanied by a saint's might unique only to Saint Realm powerhouses, directly pressing down on this group of veterans. Bang bang bang. The group of veterans who were arrogant just a moment ago instantly knelt down in a mass. Everyone's face became contorted, cold sweat pouring from their foreheads, as if carrying a burden of 1,000 caddies on their bodies. What's more, those with low cultivation bases were shocked into coughing up a mouthful of blood on the spot by this powerful pressure, and then fainted dead away. Some martial king, and even martial emperor realm powerhouses, could only barely resist it, struggling to lift their heads in shock, wanting to see who the newcomer was. When they lifted their heads with difficulty, they saw that the newcomer was a middle-aged man radiating majesty all over. The middle-aged man looked ordinary, the kind you couldn't find if tossed into a crowd. However, although his appearance was plain, no one dared to underestimate him, because at this moment, his body continuously exuded a tyrannical aura. Some with discerning eyes judged the middle-aged man's cultivation on the spot. This is a peak half-saint. However, this confirmation made their hearts turn even colder. They had actually provoked a half-saint powerhouse. We are the Royal Imperial Guards. We implore Senior to spare our lives. A martial emperor commandant, the one with the highest cultivation present, now trembled with his voice, begging the middle-aged half-saint for mercy. However, the middle-aged man didn't buy this at all and sneered. The Royal Imperial Guards, how wonderful. The dignified Royal Imperial Guards have actually done such a beautiful thing. Where exactly do you place the nation's laws? The middle-aged man snorted coldly, and the pressure he released became even stronger. His icy eyes stared coldly at the few men who had been spouting nonsense earlier, his killing intent undisguised. As a doting father, daughter slave, his daughter was his reverse scale. Now this group actually dared to attempt defiling his precious daughter. It was simply not knowing life from death. If he didn't show them something formidable, they simply wouldn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Eventually, the commotion here attracted the attention of some experts. In the distance, a streak of light wearing armor stepped through the air and arrived. Haha, what wind blew City Lord Zhang here? I was just about to go to the City Lord's mansion to pay my respects to you. Zhao Kuanying, who was also a half-saint, finally arrived late at this time. After arriving, Zhao Kuanying let out a haha laugh and casually waved his hand. The oppressed soldiers instantly felt their whole bodies relax and suddenly collapsed to the ground, as if granted a general amnesty. Hew. Thank you, General. These people, staring with bloodshot eyes, panted heavily with wide mouths. Just now they thought they were truly going to die. Fortunately, General Zhao came. Seeing this, City Lord Jiang snorted coldly and heavily. Zhao Kuanying's large army entering the city was quite sudden. He had also just received the news. Who knew that as soon as these soldiers entered the city, they would do so many things that provoke the wrath of heaven and the resentment of men? General Zhao, your subordinates are truly a bunch of good soldiers. You must give me an explanation for this matter today. If Her Majesty the Empress knew your soldiers were smearing her name, what do you think Her Majesty would think? City Lord Jiang said coldly, completely giving Zhao Kuanying no good face. Although Zhao Kuanying was the Grand General personally appointed by the female emperor, he was similarly the provincial governor of Liangzhou, a major frontier official. His power and status were not much weaker than Zhao Kuanying's. Furthermore, the entire Great Zhou knew that this Zhao Kuanying relied on his ancestors' leftover blessings, frantically consuming pills to achieve a false half-saint status. If it came to a real fight, he Jiang Shicheng was not afraid. Seeing City Lord Jiang give him no face like this, Zhao Kuanying's face instantly stiffened a bit. Just now he had wanted to brush it off with a laugh. Who knew this City Lord Jiang would cling to it without letting go? A trace of gloom immediately flashed in the eyes of the face-saving Zhao Kuanying. If it weren't for City Lord Jiang being at the consummation of the peak half-saint realm, about to step into the saint realm, he would have been unable to hold back from attacking. Thinking that he was not City Lord Jiang's match, the gloom in Zhao Kuanying's eyes was quickly and excellently hidden away by him. Good. Zhao Kuanying clapped his hands and smiled. The smile on his face was completely harmless to man and beast. Coupled with his handsome face, it truly made one think he was a big boy from next door. However, in the next second, Zhao Kuanying waved his large hand, and a majestic stream of spiritual energy surged out from his hand. Pfft! General! The surrounding people instantly cried out in alarm. The few soldiers who were just rejoicing at escaping a disaster directly exploded into a cloud of blood mist on the spot. The occurrence of this scene was something no one had expected. The other onlookers turned pale when they saw this scene, all instinctively stepping back 2 paces in fright, looking at Zhao Kuanying with terror. General, since when did he become so brutal? Perhaps even those who died wouldn't have thought of it. That Zhao Kuanying, who had stepped in to protect them just moments ago, would actually become the murderer who killed them. City Lord Jiang, are you satisfied now? Zhao Kuanying's tone was faint, and his face still held that smile. It's just that looking at it now, this smile made one feel a chill down their spine. This action of Zhao Kuanying's also almost made City Lord Jiang fail to react in time. A trace of strangeness immediately flashed in his eyes. However, since Zhao Kuanying had already killed those who spoke insolently, and had apologized to him, City Lord Jiang's expression also eased a bit. Just this once. City Lord Jiang snorted coldly. The people were already dead, so it wasn't good for him to pursue the matter any further. This must be your precious daughter, right? She really looks beautiful. Truly worthy of being the City Lord's daughter. At this moment, Zhao Kuanying suddenly looked at the proud girl beside City Lord Jiang, his gaze inconspicuously glancing at the proud girl's unripe chest. It has already begun to take shape. A trace of evil desire secretly flashed through Zhao Kuanying's eyes. Truth be told, this girl's beauty was almost on par with the female emperor's. It was just that one had an elegant and graceful temperament, while the other had a proud and youthful temperament. It could not be denied. Both were peerless beauties of the mortal world. And that girl was also pure. She didn't notice the strangeness in Zhao Kuanying's eyes as he looked at her. Seeing Zhao Kuanying eliminate those disgusting bugs with a wave of his hand, she thus developed a bit of a favorable impression towards him. Seeing Zhao Kuanying ask about her, she subsequently gave a gentle smile, and introduced herself gracefully and generously. This little lady Jang Chenning greets the general. Jang Chenning, good name. My name is Zhao Kuanying. Greetings General Zhao. Zhao Kuanying also knew that dealing with such a naive girl, he couldn't rush it. Slowly scheming for it in the future. Sooner or later there would be an opportunity. Thus Zhao Kuanying also changed the subject, turning his head directly to look at City Lord Jiang. Directly discussing business. City Lord Jiang, the reason I entered the city. You should probably already know the gist of the matter. Yumen Pass has fallen. I have no choice but to borrow your Bayong city to station my troops. Speaking of serious business city, Lord Jiang's expression also became serious. I am already aware of this matter. Sai, tell me, how could that kid from the Liu family act like this? To actually commit such a treasonous and unprincipled act. Speaking of which, his father and I are old acquaintances. Our two families even. Upon speaking of this city, Lord Jiang subconsciously glanced at Jang Chenning. In his heart he rejoiced that fortunately that matter hadn't gone through. Otherwise, if he was now involved with a rebel, it would be an absolutely massive blow to his official career. Thinking that Zhao Kuanying from the Imperial court was still present, City Lord Jiang immediately shut his mouth and said no more. Instead, sighing in lamentation. It's truly unexpected that the Liu family kid is actually so formidable. To actually break through Yumen Pass in less than a day's time. General Zhao, this matter is of vital importance. Why not move to the City Lord's mansion to discuss it in detail? Please. The two of them, each harboring ulterior motives, flew towards the direction of the City Lord's mansion one after the other. The two heavyweights had left. The crowd present couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Looking at Jang Chenning again, their eyes were filled with apprehension. This little ancestor must absolutely not be provoked. With a half-saint dad as a backer, you ask yourself if you're afraid or not. You all remember this. In the future, whoever dares to bully you again, just report my name, Jang Chenning. I will stand up for you. Jang Chenning gave a thumbs up pointing at herself, and said proudly to the crowd. Thank you, Miss Jiang. Miss Jiang is mighty. Finally someone is willing to treat us commoners as human beings. Miss Jiang is truly a kind-hearted living bodhisattva. Yes. With Miss Jiang here, we are no longer afraid of being bullied by others. Hearing this, the commoners' eyes were filled with gratitude and excitement. And some people even cried out loud. In the past, those high and mighty cultivators had never treated them as humans. Opening and closing their mouths, it was always ants. Only Jang Chenning was willing to help them, to be their protective umbrella. In the hearts of these commoners, they directly elevated Jang Chenning to an absolute height. Not far away, City Lord Jiang, who hadn't gone far, unconsciously curled the corners of his mouth into an arc. This girl really. Forget it, as long as my daughter is happy. Letting these lowly commoners amuse my daughter is fine too. At this time, Lu Yuan's large army had already left Yumen Pass, and was heading south all the way, and had already penetrated deep into the territory of Liangzhou. The small cities they encountered during the march were wiped out with a wave of the hand. Aside from the commoner civilians, no defending soldiers in the city were left alive. They were all converted into luck points. Having arrived in someone else's territory, he was in no mood to reorganize those captives anymore. It was better and more convenient to just slaughter them directly. Under such circumstances, Lu Yuan's luck points were also soaring up and up. Very soon he would be able to perform another saint-level draw. Lord, 300 miles ahead is Liangzhou's provincial capital, Bayong City. Are we directly bypassing it? It's better to conquer this city first. Soon scouts who were exploring the way came to report. Yuan Zhuozong also informed Lu Yuan of this news. Bayong City, let me think about it. Hearing Yuan Zhuozong's inquiry, Lu Yuan also hesitated for a moment. Siege the city, or just bypass it directly? After thinking for a long time, Lu Yuan decided not to bypass it. He chose to lay siege directly. There were two reasons. Firstly, upon arriving in the Central Plains, cities of the Great Zhou were everywhere. To get from Yumen Pass to Chang'an, one needed to pass through several provinces and counties like Liangzhou, Jinzhou, and Bingzhou. The journey was millions of miles away. Along the way, one could say enemies were everywhere you looked. If he rushed in recklessly, and his army penetrated deep alone, it would be very easy to fall into heavy encirclement. Secondly, he was an existence who possessed a system. He was not afraid of war. Instead, he would grow stronger with every battle. War was an opportunity for him to develop. Pushing horizontally all the way would be a snowball-like development. Take down Bayong City directly. Order the entire army to march towards Bayong City. Yes, sir. Hearing that there was a battle to fight, the group of generals under Lu Yuan began to get excited. The marching speed instantly became a bit faster. Bayong City Lord's Mansion. Zhao Kuanying was originally still discussing military affairs with City Lord Jiang. At this time, a military intelligence suddenly arrived. Lu Yuan's large army had already arrived 30 miles outside Bayong City. Hearing this, a sneer appeared on Zhao Kuanying's face. This Lu Yuan has finally come. Annihilating a prince-level rebel. I believe my noble title should also be able to be raised a bit. Not only did this Zhao Kuanying have no fear. He actually regarded Lu Yuan as his stepping stone for promotion. However, City Lord Jiang beside him had a face full of worry. General Zhao. I think it's better for us to be a bit more cautious. That Lu Yuan really cannot be judged by common sense. The Battle of Yumen Pass. As well as the annihilation of Li Weiming's 100,000 Imperial guards. Reveal weirdness everywhere. Even up till now. Although the Great Zhou side knows Lu Yuan's army is strong. But exactly to what extent they are strong remains unknown. Jiang Chenning was also worried. Once Bayong City, which he was in charge of, was breached, it would also be a stain on his own official career. Suddenly Jiang Chenning remembered the relationship between the two families. His eyes immediately flickered weirdly. This is actually a breakthrough point. If he could persuade Lu Yuan to surrender and quell this rebellion, it might even be a great merit. Jiang Chening's eyes narrowed slightly. How could he not want to use Lu Yuan as his own stepping stone for promotion too? On the side, Zhao Kuanying agreed fully on the surface. But his tone was very impatient. Alright, I know City Lord Jiang. Rest assured I will definitely handle it carefully. Looking at the overly cautious City Lord Jiang, Zhao Kuanying's heart was full of disdain. Really full of nonsense. I see you are as timid as a mouse. What is there to fear from a mere trash prince? Those two surnamed Li Weiming and Li Shun were actually defeated by a piece of trash. Truly living their lives backwards. Truly a disgrace to the Great Zhou. Zhao Kuanying said disdainfully in his heart. As one of the few half-saint generals in the Great Zhou dynasty, and also among the group with the highest hope of becoming a saint, Zhao Kuanying had the capability to be this arrogant. At this time, a messenger hurried over to report. General Zhao Lu Yuan's large army has arrived. They have camped directly outside the city. It looks like they won't lay siege to the city for the time being. So fast? Zhao Kuanying was slightly taken aback. But hearing the news that Lu Yuan's army was camping in place, he still burst into a loud laugh. Camping? Haha. Lu Yuan is scared. But this Lu Yuan isn't stupid either. Knowing that I am not to be trifled with, he simply chose not to attack. Now to actually just camp out directly. It's quite an unexpected surprise. I was even afraid he would run away and not give me this opportunity to earn merit. Zhao Kuanying sneered coldly, a cold light shooting from his eyes. Wait until night, I will personally lead troops out of the city and completely secure this merit. No one should try to persuade me. Whoever stops me from getting this merit is making an enemy of me. Humph. Saying this last part, Zhao Kuanying glanced intentionally or unintentionally at City Lord Jiang. Then he strode out with large steps. He didn't want to listen to City Lord Jiang's nagging anymore. It was really annoying. Sigh. Seeing Zhao Kuanying's receding back, City Lord Jiang let out a sigh. Then he smiled disdainfully. I hope this General Zhao can be a bit more steady. Otherwise. Although City Lord Jiang didn't have a very good impression of Zhao Kuanying, he was after all a general imperially appointed by the court. If he lost, it would also be a major blow to the majesty of the Great Zhou. Also that child Lu Yuan. Let me see if I can persuade him. And let him realize his errors and return from the wrong path. Otherwise I'll have to take action myself. Jiang Chenning chuckled. After all, the two families had a relationship before. He also didn't want to make things look too ugly. Beneath Bayong City. The reason Lu Yuan didn't attack the city and chose to camp directly outside. The reason was very simple. Because he had also just learned the news that Zhao Kuanying's 200,000 strong army had just entered the city. He didn't know before. Now that he knew, he naturally couldn't act rashly. After all, his subordinates only numbered over 100,000. Mo Yuxiang, you guys sneak into the city first. Go and scout for information. Check the guarding situation in the city. And find out exactly what the background of those 200,000 troops is. To be safe, Lu Yuan directly sent people out to gather intelligence first. After all, knowing oneself and knowing the enemy ensures victory in every battle. Yes. Mo and Yuxiang nodded and agreed. Then they sneaked towards Bayong City. At this time the entire Bayong city was jittery, and people were panicked. Zhao Kuanying's army of 200,000 entering the city, plus Lu Yuan's army of over 100,000 arriving at the city gates, caused the entire Bayong city to be placed under martial law. However, this level of martial law still couldn't stop Mo and the others from infiltrating. Not long after, on a dark alleyway inside Bayong city, several dark shadows flashed past. It was exactly Mo Yuxiang and the others. In a short period of time, they had already thoroughly figured out the situation in Bayong city. I already know all the troop deployment situations within Bayong city. This Zhao Kuanying really has a lot of nerve to actually think of leading troops out of the city for a sneak attack late at night. Yuxiang found it somewhat amusing. They were just having a headache about how to siege the city. Who would have thought this Zhao Kuanying would go out to deliver himself on a silver platter? In a siege battle, it is very advantageous for the defending side. Yet at this moment, the other party wanted to abandon this natural advantage. How could it not make people laugh their heads off? Alright, don't delay the main business. Has this news been sent out to the Lord? Mo still had a wooden expression, and asked with a cold, clear voice. Rest assured, the moment I got the intelligence, I immediately reported it to the Lord. That's good. Mo nodded. What did the Lord say? Is he still having us act as inside contacts? Yuxiang said. That's right. According to the intelligence, those following that Zhao Kuanying out of the city tonight are only the cavalry within the city. The remaining infantry are still defending the city, according to the Lord's instructions. Wait until that Zhao Kuanying leads his troops out of the gate. We will take the opportunity to seize the city gates and checkpoints. Once the Lord wins a great victory and destroys the enemy's sneak attack cavalry, we will then coordinate from the inside and outside and directly breach this Bayong city. Hearing this, Mo nodded slightly. That is very good. When the time comes and the enemy goes to sneak attack the camp, the defense at the city gates will definitely be lax. It will be very advantageous for their operation. However, at this time Yuxiang changed his tone, and with a slightly worried expression said, but that Zhao Kuanying is after all a half-saint, and his subordinates participating in the night raid are all elite soldiers. An army of over 100,000. Then the Lord's safety. Sigh, it's a pity we still have to execute the mission, and cannot stay by the Lord's side. Yuxiang sighed. Although he had already scouted the strength of Zhao Kuanying's army, finding it far inferior to the dragon cavalry and the camp crushers. But after all, that was over 100,000 people. If there was the slightest mistake, the result would be something they could not bear. Hearing this, Mo's beautiful eyebrows also furrowed slightly. Rest assured, there are multiple half-saint experts by the Lord's side, as well as Li Sandao, that Saint Realm Guardian. A mere beginner half-saint cannot threaten the Lord. Although she said this, deep in Mo's eyes there was also a trace of anxiety. At worst, after occupying the checkpoints, we will rush back to aid the Lord. Although the possibility was very small, but in their hearts, it was absolutely impossible to put their Lord in a dangerous position. Late at night, over on Zhao Kuanying's side, over 100,000 troops were quietly assembling. The relatively small Bayong city was already packed with men and horses. All the war horses were fitted with bits. Their hooves were wrapped in cotton cloth. The soldiers also held chopsticks in their mouths to keep complete silence. At the front of the army, Zhao Kuanying wore a flashy, glowing and gem-studded heavy armor, riding a mixed-breed demonic beast warhorse. He domineeringly led before the crowd. Due to special reasons and the fact that mobilization had already been done during the day, therefore Zhao Kuanying didn't use too many rousing words. Seeing that everything was ready, he immediately waved his large hand. Open the city gates. Entire army move out. Zhao Kuanying roared in a low voice. Creak, creak. The 10,000-ton heavy city gates of the pass let out a heavy teeth-grinding friction sound. Under the cover of night, Bayong city's main gates slowly opened. Out of the city, instantly all the cavalry moved like thunder. Thud, thud, thud. The muffled sounds of cotton-wrapped hooves pounding against the ground. Zhao Kuanying's eyes were full of bloodthirsty excitement. Humph, Lu Yuan boy, today is your date of death. The place where the dragon cavalry and camp crushers were camped was originally not far from Bayong city. The short distance was covered almost in the blink of an eye. With a single glance, Zhao Kuanying could even see the campfires in Lu Yuan's camp. And at this time, Lu Yuan's camp was entirely peaceful, as if they had not discovered their sneak attack. Kill! Zhao Kuanying was overjoyed in his heart. With a low shout, Swing! He drew out his weapon. Boys, charge with me! Zhao Kuanying roared without any scruples. The initiative had already been established. Their large cavalry force had already begun to charge. The momentum was fierce and rapid. Even if the enemy reacted now, it would be too late. A smug look of joy appeared in Zhao Kuanying's eyes. The merit was already within easy reach. However, just as Zhao Kuanying led the army's charge to about 100 meters from the camp's entrance, he suddenly felt the warhorse beneath him stumble sharply as if it had sprained its ankle. Zhao Kuanying was startled but did not panic. Following the trajectory of being thrown by the warhorse, he landed steadily on the ground. There's a trap. This was the first thing Zhao Kuanying thought of after landing safely. Sure enough, Zhao Kuanying only glanced at the ground, and his expression changed drastically. He saw that on the ground, there were hoof-sized pits everywhere. The openings of the pits were all covered with weeds. This was also the reason why he hadn't noticed them before. Horse-tripping pits, Zhao Kuanying said with an ugly expression. Horse-tripping pits were a common tactic used to deal with cavalry, generally used in ambushes, set up along the inevitable paths of cavalry. Could it be that Lu Yuan had already known in advance that he was going to come and sneak attack the camp late at night? Zhao Kuanying thought with a grim face. But before he had time to think further, the agonized cries of men and horses falling over reached his ears. Careful! There are horse-tripping pits. Zhao Kuanying's heart chilled. He hurriedly roared towards the rear army to warn them. But all this happened too suddenly. The cavalry in the back rows hadn't even reacted yet. Besides, even if Zhao Kuanying shouted as loud as he could, it was useless. For a charging cavalry force to come to a complete stop was absolutely impossible. So row after row of cavalry charged into the traps like dumplings being dropped into boiling water. Quickly stop! Stop! No! Ah! The cavalry behind did not have cultivation like Zhao Kuanying's. Zhao Kuanying was fine. But the other soldiers under his command were miserable. Caught off guard, they were directly thrown to the ground by their warhorses. The lighter cases had their necks broken from the fall, dying on the spot. The heavier cases still had a breath left. Then, within their terrified gazes, the massive hooves of the subsequent cavalry continuously enlarged and forcibly trampled directly over them. They suffered the punishment of being trampled by 10,000 horses. For a time, cries for help, horse neighs and wailing cries sounded together. On the ground, horse mud, human mud and soil mud also mixed together. The scene was extremely tragic for a time. Just like hell on earth. Seeing this scene, Zhao Kuanying's expression changed drastically. Trembling all over with anger. Dog thief Lu Yuan, I will definitely stand irreconcilable with you. Zhao Kuanying's eyes were bloodshot as if he wanted to eat people. He hadn't even seen the person yet. And he had already been framed and trapped by this trash Lu Yuan. To the highly arrogant Zhao Kuanying, this was simply a disgrace. But Zhao Kuanying could only let out a long howl, while being utterly helpless. This kind of incident occurring within a large army could not possibly be reversed by his strength alone. However, these cavalry he brought were at least a group of elites. After paying the price of over 10,000 people, they finally stabilized. But after this sudden change, these soldiers under Zhao Kuanying had already lost all morale. The charging momentum that had just built up also dissipated into nothing. In the distance, Lu Yuan stood on a slope coldly watching this scene. Yu Xiang's information was indeed correct. This Zhao Kuanying indeed led his troops for a night raid. This array of horse-tripping pits would first give them a taste of suffering. Notify the dragon cavalry they can move out. We must let these dog-like things experience what a true cavalry is. At this time, Zhao Kuanying looked at the vanguard that was currently regrouping. His heart grew increasingly uneasy. Although the fury in his heart was about to burst out, he hadn't let anger destroy his reason. Zhao Kuanying subconsciously looked towards Lu Yuan's camp. At such a close distance, Zhao Kuanying could even hear from the campfire braziers in the enemy camp the crackling sound of burning charcoal. However, the enemy camp seemed as if it were empty, still showing absolutely no reaction. It's a bit weird. Earlier, their large cavalry forces charge caused the ground to tremble immensely. If the enemy's reaction was slow, that would be one thing. But now they had charged right to their doorstep, and had even suffered a huge loss, resulting in the loss of over 10,000 troops and horses. With such a huge commotion, and over such a long time, by this time the enemy should have reacted, right? However, they hadn't. The enemy's camp was still quiet, like a ghost camp. At this moment, Zhao Kuanying's inner unease directly reached its peak. All of this was too contrary to common sense. Boom boom boom. Sure enough, just as Zhao Kuanying realized something was wrong, the ground once again echoed with violent tremors. From the horizon, approaching from afar. This commotion was even more fierce than their own cavalry charge just now. On the ground, small pebbles flew and splattered everywhere. They were even shaken, and flew up to the height of a horse's calf. Not good, it's a trap. The enemy's ambushing troops are coming. At this point, no matter how slow-witted Zhao Kuanying was, he had finally reacted now. Indeed, when things are abnormal, there must be demons. There really was a trap. At the skyline, although it was still late at night, relying on the bright white moonlight, Zhao Kuanying still saw a line of snow, speeding towards them from the horizon. And the speed was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, Zhao Kuanying could even clearly see the outlines of the soldiers charging at the very front. Great Snow Dragon Cavalry attack. A swift shout echoed between heaven and earth. That's right. This snow-white cavalry force was exactly the Great Snow Dragon Cavalry. Form up and meet the enemy. Zhao Kuanying's face was full of dismay. He immediately put away his underestimation. No matter how you looked at it, the momentum of this cavalry force before him was even more elite than his own subordinates. If he didn't treat them seriously, he would very likely capsize. This Lu Yuan was something else. To actually dare lay an ambush for this general. Zhao Kuanying had an expression like he had eaten shit. Being schemed against by someone he considered trash made him feel like a clown. And what shocked Zhao Kuanying's heart even more right now was a piece of trash. Why could he possess such a terrifyingly imposing cavalry force? Previously, the front lines only relayed the news of Li Weiming's annihilation. But they didn't mention that Lu Yuan had such an elite cavalry force under his command. But so what? I am a half-saint. An invincible quasi-saint realm powerhouse. The moment he thought of his own half-saint strength, Zhao Kuanying's expression looked much better. Even if he was no match for the enemy, it was enough to preserve himself amidst an army of tens of thousands. Past the order, rear army becomes vanguard. Kill! Perhaps it was the confidence given by his half-saint strength. Seeing the dragon cavalry charging right in front of him, Zhao Kuanying waved his large hand, and actually chose to prepare to clash head-on with the dragon cavalry. In the distance, Lu Yuan saw that the enemy had actually chosen to charge, clashing head-on with the dragon cavalry. He almost laughed out loud. To actually want to clash head-on with the dragon cavalry. Is the commander of the opposing army out of his mind? Lu Yuan looked at the other party like they were fools. Choosing to confront the number one cavalry in the world has only one outcome. That is death. On the battlefield, the cavalry on both sides were elites. When they moved, they were all like dragons and tigers. But the movements of Zhao Kuanying's cavalry were still a bit slower. After all, the momentum of their previous charge had already been broken. Their morale had also been mostly wiped out. Charging again couldn't reach their previous momentum. Moreover, their strength was more than just one notch weaker than the dragon cavalry. Before coming into contact with the dragon cavalry, Zhao Kuanying's heart was still quite confident, thinking to himself that even if the sneak attack failed, and it ultimately turned into a positional battle, himself a half-saint powerhouse leading a group of elite Imperial guards, could at least fight back and forth with the enemy, right? But when the two armies truly collided together, Zhao Kuanying finally realized he was wrong. Outrageously wrong. He saw that those so-called elite cavalry of his, just as they clashed with the dragon cavalry, were just like a beach during high tide, instantly submerged by the snow-white waves. Pfft! Ah ah ah! Blades pierced bodies and miserable screams echoed continuously. Zhao Kuanying's army was instantly knocked off their feet, men and horses tumbling. Horses lives, humans lives, all kinds of lives were all trampled beneath the hooves of the dragon cavalry. 1/1 kill. Both man and horse shattered together. To describe it in one phrase, that would be crushing dry weeds and smashing rotten wood. For a time, painful wails echoed through this stretch of heaven and earth. Some didn't even have time to wail, and were directly trampled into meat paste by iron hooves. This scene was even more tragic than the sight of charging into the horse-tripping pits just now. Seeing this, Zhao Kuanying's expression immediately changed drastically. Even he hadn't expected it to be such a scene. How is this possible? Zhao Kuanying exclaimed in disbelief. Looking at his subordinates failing to withstand a single blow, Zhao Kuanying instantly felt his brain was not enough to process this. Weren't his subordinates all elite Imperial guards? Why were they now being slaughtered like chopping melons and cutting vegetables? seeing that his men were frightened from the slaughter. There were actually some soldiers who turned around and wanted to flee right before the battle. Zhao Kuanying became anxious. Kill! Zhao Kuanying refused to believe this evil, a trace of ruthlessness rising on his face. He lifted his long sword and slashed at a group of approaching white-armored cavalry. The strength of the half-saint realm burst out completely. Instantly spiritual energy vibrated. Massive spiritual energy wrapped around the long sword. The sharp blade edge almost turned into a streak of light in the air. The strength of a half-saint was no joke. On the battlefield it was like turning on a cheat code. Even an ordinary dragon cavalry soldier would definitely be unable to block this strike from Zhao Kuanying. Of course that was limited only to ordinary dragon cavalry soldiers. Zhao Kuanying's sword did not successfully slash down. An angry roar sounded. Slash! This slash of Zhao Kuanying's was intercepted by a suddenly appearing armored general with a spear. Bang! Zhao Kuanying's full-power blade gleam was directly shattered into spiritual energy molecules and dissipated in the air. And the newcomer had a calm face as if it was extremely easy. Your opponent is me. Yuan Zhuozong said calmly. The newcomer was none other than the commander of the dragon cavalry Yuan Zhuozong. Half-saint. Seeing a fierce general suddenly appear, Zhao Kuanying was stunned. Sensing the other party's cultivation, his eyes first showed disbelief, and then a trace of panic arose. This was actually a half-saint. Damn it, where did a half-saint come from? Zhao Kuanying instantly panicked a bit. The reason he had no scruples was exactly because of his own half-saint cultivation. However now, a half-saint powerhouse with the exact same realm as him suddenly popped out. The advantage in realm disappeared all at once. How could this not make him panic? At this time in Zhao Kuanying's heart, a trace of the intention to retreat subconsciously sprouted. But the current situation on the battlefield had already fallen into a stalemate. No. Not a stalemate but a slaughter. He knew that if he fled right before the battle now, the tens of thousands of cavalry he led would instantly collapse across the board. They would be defeated even faster. This outcome was even more disastrous and unacceptable to him. Fine. Let this general come and meet you. Left with no choice, Zhao Kuanying had to brace himself. And engaged in battle with Yuan Zhuozong. Judging by his attire, the opponent was likely their main general. Perhaps if he won there was still a glimmer of a chance to turn the tables. Overestimating your capabilities. Yuan Zhuozong snorted coldly. Yuan Zhuozong naturally also sensed that the other party was a half-saint. His eyes were filled with soaring fighting spirit. Since he arrived in this world, he hadn't yet experienced a hearty and fulfilling battle. Now he would let the other party take a good look. There is also a gap between a half-saint and a half-saint, right? Boom! Without further ado, the two engaged in combat directly. The troops from both sides surrounding them consciously stayed far away, making room for the battle between the two. The aftershocks of a battle between half-saints was not something they ordinary cultivators could withstand. In the center of their battle, go die you nameless nobody. Great Wilderness Tyrant Blade Slash. Right from the start, Zhao Kuanying directly used his trump card ultimate skill. Great Wilderness Tyrant Blade Slash. Great Wilderness Tyrant Blade Slash, an Earth Tier mid-grade combat skill. Combat skills from high to low. Heaven, Earth, Profound, Yellow. Each tier is further divided into low, mid, and high grades. This kind of high-level combat skill was extremely rare in the entire Great Zhou dynasty. One must know that in the current era where Heaven-tier combat skills did not appear, Earth-tier combat skills were the ceiling of existence. They could even become the sect-guarding ultimate art of a transcendent power faction. However, facing Zhao Kuanying's attack, a trace of disdain also appeared on Yuan Zhuozong's face. Putting away his spear, a long blade unexpectedly appeared in his hand. The world all thought he was a spear god. Little did they know his blade techniques were even greater. Yuan Zhuozong pointed his long blade from afar. I, General Yuan Zhuozong, invite your excellency to die. In the next second the blades of the two, each carrying an unrivaled momentum, collided together. Instantly an extremely dazzling brilliance flashed past. Terrifying spiritual energy fluctuations turned into thick mist, enveloping the two within it. The two actually started unleashing their ultimate moves right from the beginning. The soldiers currently fighting on the battlefield also subconsciously stopped fighting, focusing their attention on the position of the two. At this moment it was as if the world went quiet because of it. The bright light didn't last long. A few breaths later, in the place where everyone was looking, a figure spitting a line of blood was blasted flying out from the battle like a meteor. How is this possible? Zhao Kuanying's pupils widened, his face full of horror. In the split second their weapons touched just now, his weapon was instantly shocked out of his hands. And even the webbing between his thumb and forefinger felt somewhat numb. Accept your death. No. Don't kill me. At this moment Zhao Kuanying was finally afraid. Now he finally understood why Li Weiming and Li Shun had suffered such miserable defeats. The opponent simply wasn't an army, they were devils. At this point Zhao Kuanying finally regretted it a little bit. If he had known earlier he wouldn't have left the pass. However, there is no medicine for regret in the world. With a violent shout from Yuan's Wuzong, Zhao Kuanying was directly cleaved in half with a single strike. Taking his endless ambitions and lofty aspirations with him, he perished here at Bayong City. Once Zhao Kuanying the commanding general died, the morale of his cavalry instantly plummeted to the extreme. The dragon cavalry was unstoppable, charging into the crowd like wolves and tigers. What followed was a brutal slaughter. On a high cliff in the distance, watching the dragon cavalry completely take over the battlefield, Lu Yuan finally breathed a sigh of relief. It was a close call, but the dust had settled. Gao Shun next. Lu Yuan's gaze landed on Gao Shun again, and the fierce warriors of the camp crushers behind him. The final general is here. Hearing Lu Yuan call his name, Gao Shun stepped out with fighting spirit on his face. Watching the dragon cavalry below killing so satisfactorily, he was feeling an unbearable itch in his heart. Now that the enemy's main general was dead, the remaining people would inevitably be like dragons without a leader. Take the camp crushers to assist the dragon cavalry. Clean up the battlefield below as soon as possible. Then use the shadow guards as inside contacts, and take down Bayong City in one fell swoop. Yes, sir. Gao Shun accepted the order with excitement and departed. Although the camp crushers only had 50,000 men, half the number of the dragon cavalry, their combat power was not at all inferior to the 100,000 dragon cavalry. After all, this was a Saint Realm reward, just like the dragon cavalry. Another group of fierce tigers out of their cage. After Gao Shun took the order, and left, only Su Chu remained by Lu Yuan's side. And Li Sandao, these two people. Lu Yuan's gaze looked far towards the direction of Bayong City. Why haven't Ng Mo and Yu Xiang sent a signal by this time? Could it be they encountered some unforeseen event? Lu Yuan frowned. After learning during the day that the enemy was going to attack at night, he chose to beat them at their own game. One side to ambush the night-raiding cavalry, and the other side to take the opportunity to seize the walls of Bayong City, to facilitate the subsequent army's entry into the city. But now the battle on his side was already nearing its end. So why wasn't there any movement at all from Bayong City? Su Chu listened to the order. The final general is here. Hearing Lu Yuan call him, Su Chu had a face full of excitement. Is it finally his turn? His broadsword is already unbearably thirsty for blood. Su Chu was also a battle maniac. He also wanted to let his broadsword taste some blood. However, Lu Yuan's next order instantly disheartened Su Chu. Ng Mo and the others haven't sent a signal by this time. Go and see if some unforeseen event has occurred. Ah? Su Chu opened his mouth, his face full of disappointment. He thought Lu Yuan wanted him to go out onto the battlefield to fight too. He didn't expect it to actually be to check on the situation. However, he naturally didn't dare to disobey Lu Yuan's command. Su Chu could only agree with a lack of interest. Over at Bayong City, because they learned their own people had gone to sneak attack the enemy camp, the soldiers staying behind to guard the city gates were somewhat lax in their defense. The actions of Ng Mo and the others went inexplicably smoothly, easily slitting the throats of the defending soldiers. They finally arrived at the winch that controlled the city gates. However, at this moment Ng Mo seemed to smell danger, and instantly looked alertly in one direction. Something's wrong, there's someone there. Looking closely, in the shadows of the city tower, a middle-aged man was standing there with his back to them. His posture looked as if he was waiting for their arrival. Who? Hearing Ng Mo's warning, Yu Xiang shouted loudly, and looked towards the darkness with full vigilance. In the darkness the middle-aged man slowly stood up. Sigh, I didn't expect that 3 half-saints would actually come tonight. And 300 powerhouses above the martial king level. I really don't understand that nephew of mine. Where did he get so many elite subordinates? Playing the devil, who exactly are you? Know this aura? Yu Xiang asked sharply, having already drawn the weapon in his hand. But then he was slightly stunned immediately. This aura of the other party actually gave him a quite familiar feeling. You are the Bayong City Lord Jiang Shicheng. You recognize me? This time it was Zhang Shiqing's turn to be surprised. He hadn't even shown his face yet. And the other party had actually stated his identity. Opposite him, Yu Xiang thought in his heart as expected. As early as during the day when he was scouting for information in the city, he had already seen Zhang Shiqing, the city lord. He had even disguised himself as him. Which is how he obtained the news that Zhao Kuanying was going to sneak attack the camp at midnight. That's right, I am Zhang Shiqing. Exactly the city lord of this Bayong city. In the dark, Zhang Shiqing slowly revealed his figure from the darkness. And said while walking, "Everyone, I do not wish for conflicts to arise between us. Could you a few sell me some face and retreat right now? I can treat everything tonight as if it never happened." Having said that, the peak half-saint aura on Zhang Shiqing's body secretly radiated out. Within it, faintly discernible, was accompanied by a trace of true saint's might. Yu Xiang and Ing Mo exchanged a glance. A trace of solemnity flashed in both their eyes. This is a peak half-saint powerhouse at the grand completion stage. Yu Xiang whispered to Ing Mo in a low voice. He had already gathered all the intelligence on this city lord during the day, and naturally knew the other party's cultivation level. And now the other party's aura like a sharp blade, so imposing that it even pierced through the clouds in the sky, exactly confirmed the accuracy of his intelligence. However, Ing Mo's expression remained unchanged. She rejected what Zhang Shiqing said without even thinking about it, and even issued a warning to Zhang Shiqing in the same manner. This city we shadow guards are determined to take. If you insist on being an enemy to us, don't blame us for being impolite. Ing Mo's voice was still as cold and clear as ever, but exceptionally firm. At the same time, the 300 shadow guards behind Ing Mo also together drew their weapons with consecutive swing sounds. This action undoubtedly showed their attitude. To fight to the death. The mission commanded by the Lord. They must complete even if they die. Sigh. Hearing Ing Mo's flat rejection and the actions of the shadow guards, Zhang Shiqing sighed slightly. It seems this battle is unavoidable. Since that is the case, I must apologize in advance for the offense. Zhang Shiqing said. Just as the last syllable fell, his figure disappeared on the spot like a ghost. One could only see a phantom slowly dissipating in place. Careful! Ing Mo had just spoken out to warn. When Zhang Shiqing revealed his figure again, in less than the blink of an eye, he actually appeared in front of Yu Xiang like teleportation. How bold! Seeing this, Yu Xiang's pupils shrank slightly, and immediately couldn't help but laugh out of extreme anger. There were 3 half-saints present on their side. Ing Mo, Ing Yi, and himself. And the other party deliberately picked him as the first target to attack. Obviously, the other party treated him as a soft persimmon, intending to defeat them one by one starting from the weakest. Leak crisp clear wind palm. Yu Xiang gave an angry roar, directly using his ultimate martial skill. As the leader of the Drizzle organization, Yu Xiang's strength was naturally not weak. Even though Zhang Shiqing was at the grand completion of peak half-saint, he could still contend with him for a move or two. Not to mention he also had Ing Mo and Ing Yi, 2 half-saint powerhouses beside him. Do it! On the side, Ing Mo and Ing Yi exchanged a glance. Seeing the other party make a move, they also struck out to gain the upper hand. One could see the daggers in their hands like agile poisonous snakes, stabbing straight towards Zhang Shiqing's sides from the left and right. Dodge! Facing the pincer attack from the left and right by Ing Mo and the other, Zhang Shiqing could only dodge sideways. Boom! Zhang Shiqing hastily exchanged a palm strike with Yu Xiang. After landing, he actually staggered back several steps, under the threat of Ing Mo and Ing Yi. This palm strike Zhang Shiqing exchanged with Yu Xiang actually made him suffer a small hidden loss. Humph, ridiculous, you a single half-saint. How can you withstand 3 half-saints? Yu Xiang retracted his palm, stood tall and sneered. On their side, Ing Mo and Ing Yi were both half-saints. Including him, 3 half-saints were gathered together. The opponent was just 1 half-saint, how could he possibly fight them? Hearing this, Zhang Shiqing smiled helplessly, but a trace of cunning flashed in his eyes. He, the 3 of you are indeed formidable. Although my realm is higher than yours, dealing with you is also quite tricky. It's just that who said I am the only half-saint here? Brother Jing, please assist me. Zhang Shiqing urgently shouted, actually calling for helpers. In the city lord's mansion in the distance. As Zhang Shiqing's voice fell, suddenly 2 figures trailing streams of light rose up again. Haha, brother Zhang, to have us make a move. You understand the price, right? Rest assured. Your benefits will not be lacking. Zhang Shiqing shook his head with a scolding laugh. The price to pay to invite half-saints to take action is definitely not just a normal amount, let alone two. This time he would definitely bleed a lot of wealth again. To think you actually have helpers. Seeing two more half-saints appear, Mo and the other two also began to get serious. 3 against 3 is very reasonable. However, the 3 on Zhang Shurcheng's side were all peak half-saint level experts, while on Mo's side there was only her. Yu Xiang and Yi were both ordinary half-saints. In this way Mo and her group became very passive. Although items produced by the system were all fine quality, but facing peak half-saints, Yu Xiang and the others could only maintain not being defeated, that's all. Shadow guards, listen to my command. We will stall their 3 half-saints. Act according to the original plan, and coordinate to open the city gates. Mo instructed the shadow guards with a solemn voice. As for her mission, Mo had not forgotten. Although they couldn't kill these 3 half-saints, that didn't matter. As long as they stalled them, and let the remaining shadow guards open the city gates, and then let the Lord's large army enter the city, that would be enough. Not good. Hearing Mo's instructions, Zhang Shurcheng's expression immediately changed. Now he suddenly realized a serious problem. That's right, he had prepared backup plans. 2 half-saints, right? But now all 3 half-saints including himself were stalled by the enemy. And the opponent still had 300 experts above the Martial King level under their command. Those soldiers of his remaining to guard the city walls were definitely not their match. Sure enough, the moment the defenders on the city wall came into contact with the shadow guards, they faced a one-sided slaughter. The massive gap in realm allowed the shadow guards to kill one with each strike. Or even a group. It was simply too easy. Watching the soldiers under his command being slaughtered like little chicks, Zhang Shurcheng's eyelids twitched violently. This cannot go on. Now's the time. A trace of ruthlessness suddenly flashed in Zhang Shurcheng's eyes. The only chance now was to take advantage of the enemy, half-saints not reacting in time, and for himself to instantly kill those shadow guards in one fell swoop. Only in this way could the current crisis be resolved. Zhang Shurcheng's figure was seen to flash. Spiritual energy condensed into a swath in his hands, heading straight towards those shadow guards who were currently slaughtering. However, Zhang Shurcheng's little maneuver was still discovered by Mo. Swoosh! Your opponent is me. Mo dodged and appeared in front of Zhang Shurcheng like a ghost, blocking his lethal sneak attack. Get lost. Zhang Shurcheng was somewhat irritable. The spiritual energy on his body erupted completely. Mo didn't speak. Beneath the black mask her silver teeth were already tightly clenched together. Facing Zhang Shurcheng, a powerhouse about to step into the Saint Realm, she also felt a slight trace of pressure. Facing Zhang Shurcheng's furious strike, Mo directly chose to face it head-on. Spiritual energy boiled around the two, and sparks flew from their weapons. They had evidently worked up a temper. Seeing that he couldn't do anything to the other party after all, Zhang Shurcheng suddenly withdrew his force. Retreating continuously to mid-air, hovering, and standing with an expressionless face, he said, forget it, go find Lu Yuan to come here. I will speak with him personally." Zhang Shurcheng was dying of hatred in his heart. Originally, he had wanted to give that nephew of his a show of strength, to dampen his spirit, and at the same time put his upcoming negotiations in a proactive position. Who would have thought that now? He couldn't even take down the subordinates sent by the other party. This unforeseen event directly caused Zhang Shurcheng's original plan to collapse. Zhang Shurcheng even blushed a little. Truly embarrassing for the other side. Mo didn't know Zhang Shurcheng's thoughts. Hearing that Zhang Shurcheng actually wanted to see her lord, she immediately sneered and said, He's still wanting to see my lord? Don't even think about it. Let's just see who's better under our hands." Having said that, without giving Zhang Shurcheng a chance to explain, she charged towards Zhang Shurcheng once again. Zhang Shurcheng shook his head helplessly. Fine. Now it's difficult for him to even see his nephew once. Facing Mo's attack, left with no choice, Zhang Shurcheng had to meet the battle again. The battle between 6 half-saints could be said to be earth-shattering. And Bayong City was unlike a strategic level pass like Yumen Pass, which possessed formations to suppress cultivation levels. Therefore the 6 half-saints destroyed large swaths of the city wall with their every movement. The commotion here grew bigger and bigger. In the city, defending forces continuously rushed over one after another. After these defending forces arrived, seeing the battle between the half-saints, they couldn't intervene. So they consecutively aimed their spearheads at those shadow guards. Kill! The soldiers who came upon hearing the noise fearless of death, raised their blades and charged towards the shadow guards. Kill, kill, kill. The shouts of killing on the city walls pierced through the clouds. Seeing the reinforcements of his side arrive, Jiang Shicheng rejoiced. Imperial guards defend the city gates to the death. Notify the major camps to rapidly rush over to assist. Brother Jing, rapidly dispose of your opponents. And then assist the Imperial guards. No problem. Okay. Jiang Shicheng gave orders consecutively. Have the arriving defending forces quickly hold the city gates. And have the two half-saints he invited end their battles quickly. As long as the situation was stabilized. Wait until he disposed of this black-clothed person in front of him. Then he would be able to claw back a victory. But immediately Jiang Shicheng realized a trace of something wrong. Because those defending forces who rushed over were being ruthlessly slaughtered by the shadow guards. A one-sided slaughter. The only function of these arriving defending forces was to use their own lives. To delay the opponent for that split second when they swung their blades. Only a split second. Due to the heavy casualties on the city walls. It even generated a thick blood-colored heavy fog. Fortunately, under the accumulation of human lives, those Imperial Guard soldiers actually slightly delayed the pace of the Shadow Guards. Jiang Shicheng looked at all this with heartache. But he didn't have the slightest solution. Jiang Shicheng knew. The defeat of his side was only a matter of time. No, I can't wait any longer. Brother Jing, I will forcibly block the three of them. You go resolve those Shadow Guards. Jiang Shicheng roared loudly. His terrifying aura burst out entirely. Boom! With a single stomp, the city wall directly shattered into a spider web. His whole person was like a fired cannonball, charging straight towards Ing Mo and the other two. At this moment the aura on Jiang Shicheng's body actually reached the might of the Saint Realm. Seeing this, a trace of solemnity flashed in Ing Mo's exposed eyes. Her panther-like nimble body tensed slightly. Handle your respective enemies well, I will deal with him. Since the other party was getting serious, then she must also treat it seriously. Ing Mo's lips parted slightly, slowly spitting out a few words. Shadow kill. Instant hell. At this moment Ing Mo directly utilized the martial skill she hadn't used all this time. The exclusive martial skill belonging solely to the Shadow Guards. In merely an instant, Ing Mo actually appeared directly behind Jiang Shicheng. Without any sign at all. The dagger in Ing Mo's hand was raised high. In the next moment it could slit Jiang Shicheng's throat. And Jiang Shicheng, seeing Ing Mo, actually disappeared directly on the spot. His pupils also shrank slightly. Damn it! He actually couldn't capture the opponent's whereabouts anymore. Just as Jiang Shicheng was on guard towards his surroundings. Suddenly Jiang Shicheng felt the hairs on his neck stand on end instantly. An extremely strong sense of crisis was instantly behind him. Jiang Shicheng instinctively ducked and dodged. He only saw a cold gleam barely slide past his neck. The sharp blade aura had even cut through his tough skin, seeping out thin lines of blood. Jiang Shicheng broke out in a cold sweat from the scare. So close. Just a little bit more and his neck would have been cut off. Jiang Shicheng turned solemnly to look at the slightly panting Ing Mo. Jiang Shicheng smiled slightly. You are very good. It's just that your set of skills focuses on assassination. Primarily focusing on sneak attacks. Now in an open battle, I'm afraid you are not my match. Stop spouting nonsense. Fight! Ing Mo panted heavily, a fierce light flashing in her eyes. Good. Jiang Shicheng laughed heartily. Then let me see your strength. Fight! The two both stared deadly at each other, their eyes soaring with fighting spirit. Jiang Shicheng looked at the other's autumn water-like black eyes and was slightly stunned. At this moment he finally discovered. The black-clothed person in front of him was actually a woman. However, what surprised Jiang Shicheng even more was that he read another piece of information from the other's eyes. That was absolute loyalty. The other party was actually a death sworn. Jiang Shicheng marveled secretly. Unsurprisingly, this woman in front of him was a subordinate of that rumored trash of the northern region. But since he was trash, why would he still gain the absolute loyalty of such an expert? Could it be a backup plan left by his old friend? Incomprehensible. Truly incomprehensible. Jiang Shicheng fell straight into deep doubts. No matter what was said, Jiang Shicheng's idea of one stalling three was shattered. The other two half-saints were also stalled and couldn't extricate themselves. Seeing this scene, Jiang Shicheng could only pray in his heart that those city wall guards could hold on for a little more time. On the side, as the shadow guards killed, they involuntarily stopped, because there were no more defending forces around who dared to approach. when the frenzy in their minds dispersed, looking at the corpses all over the ground. In the eyes of those defending forces only terror remained. Devils! These people are all devils. Run away. Clang crash. Mommy, don't push me, let me run first. A group of defenders threw away their helmets and armors, scrambling to flee in panic. The shadow guards didn't move either, because hunting down these people was meaningless to them. And they no longer needed to capture the city gate hub, because the entire city gate had already been caught in the crossfire of the previous battle, and completely shattered. Finally, the fierce battle did not last long. A majestic figure wearing armor suddenly descended upon this place. Seeing the crowd fighting in a chaotic melee, the newcomer's face couldn't help but show a look of excitement. Haha. The Lord really guessed right. Mo, you guys actually encountered a situation. Not bad. It looks like there's a fight to be had here. From the looks of it now, there should be a chance for me to show off my skills. Su Chu rubbed his fists and wiped his palms, eager to give it a try, with the perverted excitement of a battle maniac on his face. Originally, Su Chu thought it was just an ordinary reconnaissance mission. Who could have thought? There was actually a battle waiting for him. This is so thrilling. On the city wall, seeing another half-saint arrive, Jiang Shiqing's gaze narrowed, and his face instantly turned gloomy. This is bad. Jiang Shiqing slightly swept his gaze over the situation on the field, and thought to himself that things were not good. Damn it, another half-saint has arrived. This is already the fourth half-saint to appear today. And according to his probing, the one who just arrived is also a peak half-saint no weaker than him. Jiang Shiqing was puzzled. Half-saints were rarely seen in the past. So how come today they are like common cabbages, popping up one after another? One must know that on his cultivation journey to the grand completion of the peak half-saint realm, he had only made 2 or 3 half-saint friends. Seeing that the enemy side unexpectedly had another half-saint arrive, the 2 half-saints invited by Jiang Shiqing instantly harbored thoughts of retreating. 3 against 4 meant that someone would have to fight 1 against 2. Fighting 1, they still had strength to spare. But if it was 1 against 2, they would inevitably be defeated. Brother Jiang, I suddenly remembered I have some matters to attend to, so I'll be leaving first. As for the bounty for inviting me to help in the battle, I don't want it anymore. Yes. I still have a furnace of pills refining at home. I have to hurry back and check on it. I don't want the things you promised me either. Facing the threat to their lives and fortunes, the 2 decisively chose to retreat. Hearing this, Jiang Shiqing opened his mouth, but ultimately did not speak the words to stop them. In this kind of situation, if the other party deserted on the eve of battle, he couldn't say anything either. Could he really force them to stay here and wait for death? Besides, if the other party was dead set on running away, he wouldn't be able to stop them anyway. However, even if those 2 half-saints wanted to leave, Yuxiang and Ing Yi would not agree. Want to leave? It's too late. Weren't you enjoying the fight just now? Su Chu, come quickly. Help me deal with this old geezer first. Yuxiang sneered coldly, and directly called for Su Chu's help. Among these people his strength was the lowest, and the pressure he had just faced was the greatest. Now that he had finally waited for his reinforcements to arrive, how could he let the other party leave so easily? Don't go. Take this. Yuxiang shouted angrily again and again, launching all sorts of moves directly at the opponent's body. He completely used his full strength to keep them here. Don't rush, I'm coming. Su Chu grinned, and his giant bear-like body charged straight towards Yuxiang's side. Get the hell away from me. Seeing that Yuxiang was completely exchanging injuries for injuries, using a desperate fighting style, those 2 half-saints also felt a burst of vexation in their hearts. Like a dogskin plaster. They couldn't beat him to death. And they couldn't escape either. Being tightly delayed, the 2 were also getting anxious. Let's risk it all. The 2 gritted their teeth, and directly brought out their trump cards. One of the half-saints was seen taking out a large jade seal. The large seal was carved with intricate, profound patterns. Rays of precious light flickered on it from time to time. At a glance, it belonged to the ranks of top-grade magical treasures. Heaven-turning seal. This half-saint was just about to activate his magical treasure. But the next second he felt a trembling aura locked directly onto him. Instantly, he did not dare to make any movement with his hands. Saint Realm. This half-saint's pupils dilated unconsciously, and he swallowed a mouthful of saliva with difficulty. That's right. This kind of aura that made his very soul fear. was undoubtedly the Saint Realm. At this moment from far away, bursts of massive and heavy horse hooves suddenly sounded, kicking up flying dust, and shattering rocks and sand, roaring like thunder. Great! The Lord is here! Yuxiang was the first to react, roaring excitedly. Sure enough, a snow-white line was rapidly approaching from the distant horizon, clad in white armor, riding white-maned horses, covered like heavy snow. It was exactly the dragon cavalry. And behind the dragon cavalry followed the Xianjin camp. That's right. The dragon cavalry and the Xianjin camp had already cleaned up the remnants of the battlefield, completely annihilated Zhao Kuanying's remaining army, and only then freed up their time to come and attack Bayong city. At the front of the army were exactly Yuan Zhuozong and Gao Shun. Yuxiang saw the two of them at a glance. Yuan Zhuozong, Gao Shun, come help us quickly. However, hearing Yuxiang's call for help, the two did not move at all. Instead, they respectfully looked at a young man beside them. After getting the nod of approval from the young man, the two then broke away from the main force and flew towards the city wall. Here I come. Gao Shun excitedly licked the blood off his lips, his eyes locking deadly onto one of the half-saints. No one fight me for him. He is mine. Previously Yuan Zhuozong had already slain a half-saint in battle, but he hadn't yet. Now that the Lord is watching from behind, he had to show off a little, right? And at this moment, seeing two more half-saints arriving, Jiang Shiqing was completely shocked. What? Two more half-saints actually came? Jiang Shiqing was dumbfounded. Have half-saint powerhouses really become as common as cabbages? 6 half-saints have already appeared right before his eyes. In an instant, an unprovoked sense of panic rose from the bottom of Jiang Shiqing's heart. This situation, he was starting to lose control of it. Even if he was incredibly powerful, he couldn't take on 6 people by himself. Meanwhile, on the side, the 2 half-saint powerhouses Jiang Shiqing had invited to help were even more terrified at this moment. Not only because the enemy side now had 6 half-saints, but because in that instant just now, they felt a tremendous crisis lock onto them. That kind of innate instinctual fear made their hairs stand on end uncontrollably. Old Jiang, you have really screwed us over. The corners of the two's mouths were filled with bitterness. As peak half-saints, regarding the aura that had locked onto them, they already had a certain affirmation in their hearts. That must definitely be a true Saint Realm. Being locked onto by a Saint Realm powerhouse. No one could remain calm. Su Chu and the other 5 attacked together, fighting 2 against 1. A massive advantage was instantly formed. Facing the pincer attack of 2 half-saints, Jiang Shiqing and the other 2 complained incessantly about their suffering. Especially Jiang Shiqing. Facing Yuan Zhuozong, a peak half-saint powerhouse, was already very difficult for him. Added to the fact that Mo was launching sneak attacks from the side, his life hung by a thread several times, and he was almost sent to the afterlife directly. Stop. Finally Jiang Shiqing managed to block one of Mo's attacks with great difficulty, and immediately shouted from afar towards the direction of the army. Is the newcomer my nephew Lu Yuan? I am your uncle Jiang. I am well acquainted with your father. We are best friends. Jiang Shiqing's face was full of bitterness. If he didn't reveal his identity now, he was going to be slain in this very place. Jiang Shiqing's shout successfully attracted everyone's attention. Mo looked at Jiang Shiqing suspiciously. Could this guy actually really know their lord? Forget it. Since the lord has already arrived anyway, let's see what the lord says. Besides, the other party couldn't run away. If he isn't, it wouldn't be too late to kill him then. Mo pressed down her hand, gesturing for the other 5 to temporarily stop fighting. Finally, under Jiang Shiqing's hopeful gaze, Lu Yuan slowly stepped forward. Uncle Jiang? Nephew? What? Do I know you? Or do you know me? Lu Yuan glanced sideways at Jiang Shiqing, his face full of doubt. On the side, Mo kept a cold face, and the dagger in her hand was slowly raised again. This old thief actually dared to deceive the Lord. Damn him. Seeing this, Jiang Shiqing was sweating profusely. He smiled awkwardly and said, Nephew, you must be joking. How could you not remember me? Your father Lu Qingtian and I are best friends. Like brothers. Right. Back when your father's cenotaph funeral procession was held, I was even one of the pallbearers. Hearing Jiang Shiqing say this, Lu Yuan finally had some impression. Oh, so it's Uncle Jiang. I remember now. Lu Yuan said in sudden realization. Sometimes, if he didn't deliberately try to recall his predecessor's memories, he simply couldn't remember them at all. Not to mention that Jiang Shiqing looked so disheveled right now, making it even more impossible for Lu Yuan to recognize him at first glance. Seeing that Lu Yuan recognized him, Jiang Shiqing smiled in relief. No worries, no worries. It's fine as long as my nephew recognizes me. Then acting overly familiar, Jiang Shiqing enthusiastically wanted to fly over to Lu Yuan's side, to try and cozy up to him. Haha, nephew Lu. It really has been a long time. Think back to the beginning. You were still a... Hey, what is the meaning of this? Why are you blocking me? Who knew that as soon as Jiang Shiqing made a move, Ing Mo next to him grabbed and blocked him. And she looked at Jiang Shiqing with a warning glare. As if should the other party dare to take one more step forward, the dagger in her hand would immediately open a large hole in his body. Seeing this, Jiang Shiqing immediately looked at Ing Mo angrily. Ouch, what are you doing? Can't you see that your master and I know each other? I am your lord's uncle. Just now when you fought with me, I haven't even settled that score with you yet. Now you actually dare to block me. Believe it or not, I'll have that boy Lu Yuan make you suffer a bit. However, facing Jiang Shiqing's threats, Ing Mo's face remained wooden. She couldn't feel at ease letting this person, who was crossing swords with her just moments ago, get close to her lord. Unless Lu Yuan spoke up personally. Seeing that Ing Mo was unmoved, Jiang Shiqing's face instantly became somewhat embarrassed. With so many people watching, where was he supposed to put his face? Immediately Jiang Shiqing turned his head to look at Lu Yuan, and spoke in a weird cynical tone typical of an elder. Nephew Lu, how do you train your subordinates? They don't understand manners at all. If it were me, I would definitely punish them severely. Such an ignorant subordinate should be well educated, to let them know who the real master is. Looking at Jiang Shiqing on the field acting as if he were the big boss, Lu Yuan suddenly smiled. At the same time, a trace of mockery surfaced on his face. Damn it. Where did this irrelevant piece of trash come from? To actually start lecturing his people? That's right. This person surnamed Jiang in front of him was indeed a late friend of his predecessor's father. But what the hell did that have to do with him? Seeing that Lu Yuan also had absolutely no reaction, neither speaking out to stopping Mo's behavior, nor paying attention to his words, just looking at him with a half-smile, Jiang Shiqing instantly became a bit awkward. His toes could have dug out a 3-bedroom apartment on the ground from the cringe. Doing this made him look like a clown. Suddenly a trace of gloom flashed across Jiang Shiqing's eyes. Although he still had a smiling face, in his heart he had already started holding a grudge against Lu Yuan. Little brat. How dare you put me in an awkward position? There will be a chance for me to teach you a lesson. Finally, after the atmosphere on the field remained awkward for a few minutes, Lu Yuan finally spoke up. Uncle Jiang. Regarding my arrival at Bayong City, you should have known about it early on, right? And as for why I came here, you should also be aware, right? Since that is the case, and you knew it was me, why did you still attack my subordinates? Could it be that Uncle Jiang also discriminates against my identity as a rebel? Lu Yuan absent-mindedly picked at his fingernails, looking at Jiang Shiqing with a half-smile. Although it wasn't a direct interrogation, his tone carried a faint trace of hostility. This was a question Lu Yuan had suddenly thought of just now. This Uncle Jiang in front of him was after all the city lord of Bayong City. Lu Yuan didn't believe that he could have absolutely no advance notice of his arrival. Yet even clearly knowing it was him, he still allowed Zhao Kuanying's cavalry to come for a night raid. Even when the shadow guards sneaked into the city, this uncle intervened to stop them, engaging in a fierce fight with the shadow guards. Having done such things, and now smilingly acknowledging him as family, how could Lu Yuan not doubt the other party's motives? Ahem, nephew Lu is overthinking it. Uncle definitely did not think that way. It's just that this, being asked like this by Lu Yuan, Jiang Shiqing's old face immediately flushed red, rendering him temporarily speechless. He also didn't know how he should explain himself. Could he really speak plainly to Lu Yuan and say, I originally wanted to give you a beating to knock you down a peg, dampen your spirit, kill some of your subordinates to establish my prestige, and then persuade you to surrender from the position of a victor, so that perhaps I still had a chance to earn the merit of exterminating a rebel, and successfully gain a promotion. He definitely couldn't say this out loud. Watching Jiang Shiqing stammering on the side, Lu Yuan was already clear in his heart. It was confirmed. This so-called Uncle Jiang was indeed a double-dealing backstabbing character. Thinking of this, Lu Yuan's eyes gradually turned cold. You really are my good uncle. Lu Yuan sneered coldly. What a hypocritical act. However, Lu Yuan did not immediately tear off all pretenses. Instead, he gestured with his chin towards the two unfamiliar half-saints beside Jiang Shicheng. By the way, Uncle Jiang, who are these two gentlemen? Hearing Lu Yuan change the subject, Jiang Shicheng couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Seeing Lu Yuan asking about his two friends, Jiang Shicheng couldn't help but laugh awkwardly and said, "Oh haha, those two are my two friends. Both are experts at the half-saint realm. Nephew Lu, could you have your subordinates put down their weapons first? We are all family here. Why cross swords with one another?" Jiang Shicheng even spoke with a bit of caution. He couldn't help it. Ing Mo beside him was still pointing her dagger at him. Lu Yuan ignored Jiang Shicheng and continued to ask in an absent-minded manner. "Oh, so they are Uncle Jiang's friends. Right. Did my father know them too?" "Well, not really. They are just my close friends. Your father had never met them either." "Oh, so that's how it is." Lu Yuan's eyes flashed as he thoughtfully rubbed his chin. "Since they have nothing to do with my father, then let's just send them off. After all, they are not my dear uncle." Lu Yuan smiled slightly, revealing a row of white teeth. Two half-saints. Adding it up, that is quite a considerable amount of luck points. Great, thank you, nephew. Wait, that's not right. Send them off? Jiang Shicheng's eyes suddenly widened, as if suspecting he had misheard. He said to Lu Yuan in disbelief. "Nephew Lu, are you mistaken? They are all friends of your uncle. Even in terms of seniority, you should still call them uncle. How can you be disrespectful to your elders?" As he kept talking, Jiang Shicheng seemed to have suddenly recovered his majesty as an elder, even bringing a lecturing tone to his words when speaking to Lu Yuan. Lu Yuan sneered coldly. "What the hell are you? To actually dare to lecture him?" If this Jiang Shicheng had treated him sincerely, perhaps he could have treated him like an elder and been more respectful to him. But now, this Jiang Shicheng clearly had ulterior motives. Why the hell should he be respectful? Lu Yuan's eyes were full of playful mockery, and he said with a beaming smile, "That's right. Uncle Jiang. I really do mean to send them off. Daring to be my enemies. They must have been prepared to die beforehand, right? How can there be a logic where one can kill others, but cannot be killed by others? Wouldn't you agree, Uncle Jiang?" At the very end, Lu Yuan pointed out with a half-smile that carried a hidden meaning. Speaking of which, this Jiang Shicheng also attacked the Shadow Guards. It was only riding on the coattails of his predecessor's father that he spared his life, which was already an exceptional act of mercy. Hearing this, Jiang Shicheng forced a smile. He also heard the underlying implication in Lu Yuan's words, and his tone subconsciously weakened. Nephew Lu, don't joke with your uncle. They are your uncle's friends. Hurry up and let them go. Don't worry. I'll make sure they remember your great kindness, and they will definitely repay you in the future." Hearing this, Lu Yuan gave a cold sneer, and a trace of impatience appeared between his brows. Damn it. He was most annoyed by others trying to use moral kidnapping on him. The other party had already bullied him right over his head. And yet he was supposed to forgive them? Wishful thinking. Did they really think he was a living bodhisattva? Su Chu. Do it. Give Uncle Jiang's two friends a quick end. Lu Yuan's face still bore a harmless smile. On the side, after receiving Lu Yuan's order, Su Chu walked straight towards the two with a cold sneer. If one had to say who among the crowd present experienced the most dramatic emotional roller coaster, it would definitely be Su Chu. Originally, he wanted to have a big fight. As a result, Lu Yuan arrived right away, and even seemed to know the enemy. Just when Su Chu disappointedly thought that he couldn't chop anyone down anymore. As a result, with Lu Yuan's command, he could chop again. It truly was full of twists and turns. Seeing that Lu Yuan wasn't joking, and was actually going to chop down those two half-saints, Jiang Shicheng was dumbfounded. And those two half-saint powerhouses were even more bewildered. Damn it. Obviously the three of them were in the same group. Why kill only them? While Jiang Shicheng was fine. Those two half-saints suddenly looked at Jiang Shicheng with vicious resentment. Jiang Shicheng, you backstabbing bastard. You've screwed us to death. Jiang Shicheng, I knew you had bad intentions. Even if I become a ghost, I won't let you off. CK your ancestors to the 8th generation. The two cursed with countless foul words, wishing they could eat Zhang Shurching alive. In their eyes, them falling into this situation today was entirely Zhang Shurching's fault. If the other party hadn't invited them to come, how could these things have happened? And on what basis were they all together? But only they had to die first? Wasn't this deliberately luring them over, just to screw them to death alive? Uncle Jiang, you heard them. You beg for mercy for them. But not only do they not appreciate it, they even curse you. Su Chu, hurry up and do it. Lu Yuan was annoyed by the noise, and urged him directly. Su Chu let out a furious roar. The two half-saints were directly wiped out by a single strike from Su Chu. Lu Yuan. Zhang Shurching roared loudly, so angry he almost spat blood. His face was incredibly unsightly. This little bastard actually treated his words like wind blowing past his ears, giving him no face at all. What made Zhang Shurching even more furious were his two half-saint friends. He had humbled himself to beg for their lives, and they actually failed to recognize his goodwill and cursed him. Are you dead now? You totally deserved it. Lu Yuan pretended to have an innocent look. Uncle Jiang, don't rush. Although you also attacked my subordinates. Who made you my Uncle Jiang? This time we will let bygones be bygones. You. Just as Zhang Shurching angrily opened his mouth, wanting to verbally lecture Lu Yuan, he suddenly noticed Lu Yuan's icy gaze. It was just this one glance that instantly plunged the bottom of Zhang Shurching's heart into icy coldness. He had a feeling that if he babbled one more word, the next one to die would absolutely be him. Zhang Shurching was completely numb. Originally he thought handling this nephew of his would be as easy as flipping his hand. Who knew the other party would be so decisive and ruthless in killing? At this moment Zhang Shurching suddenly remembered a point he had neglected. Right now he seemed to be the one begging for mercy. Lu Yuan gestured with his chin towards Mo and the others, indicating for them to keep a close eye on this Uncle Jiang of his. Now was not the time to execute him. To stabilize Bayong City, or even the entire Liangzhou, he would still be of use. Besides, he was his Uncle Jiang. The army enters the city. If there are any resistors, kill them on the spot. Lu Yuan issued the order. Currently, the entire city wall of Bayong City was already damaged. The army could just march straight in, now that there was no obstruction from high-level combat forces. Lu Yuan's army entering the city could be said to be completely unhindered. The occupation of Bayong City was already a foregone conclusion. At this time Lu Yuan had already walked to Zhang Shurching's side. Beside him, Li Sandao had already revealed himself to stand guard. Lu Yuan didn't dare to be careless either, having Li Sandao keep a close watch. If this Zhang Shurching made any unusual moves, he would be killed on the spot directly. He was currently just an ordinary person with no cultivation. In case this Zhang Shurching suddenly violently lashed out and killed him, he wouldn't even have a place to cry when the time came. Uncle Jiang, how many defending troops are left in all of Bayong City right now? At this time Zhang Shurching was still somewhat dazed. Hearing Lu Yuan ask him out of the blue, Zhang Shurching was instantly startled into a shudder. At this moment Zhang Shurching suddenly noticed Li Sandao beside Lu Yuan. Zhang Shurching's breath couldn't help but catch. He wasn't seeing things right? That person was actually a martial saint. A true martial saint. Holy crap. Zhang Shurching's heart was instantly filled with the shock of 10,000 galloping horses. Lu Yuan, having 6 half-saint subordinates, was already enough to shock Zhang Shurching. Now a saint realm had actually appeared directly. Although a half-saint also bore the word saint, compared to a true saint realm, that was simply the difference between clouds and mud. One must know, the entire Great Zhou dynasty had a plethora of half-saints. At the very least there had to be 800 to 1,000 of them. But the number of martial saints did not exceed the fingers on 2 hands. From this one could see the rarity of a martial saint. At this moment Zhang Shurching even doubted if Lu Yuan had become the holy son of some holy land. No. Even a holy land's holy son wouldn't have this kind of treatment. A martial saint acting as a personal guard, being stared at by a martial saint at this moment. Zhang Shurching naturally didn't dare to act rashly. He answered Lu Yuan honestly. There should be about 100,000 left. Now that the city has been breached, Bayong City's defending troops have probably already retreated to the North City camp. Zhang Shurching said uncertainly. As the provincial capital of Liangzhou, Bayong City's defending troops were roughly around 100,000. Excluding the cavalry, Zhao Kuanying took to sneak attack the camp. The remaining Imperial guards should also number around 70 or 80,000. Added together, it should approach 200,000. But during the process of defending the city, these defenders suffered heavy losses being slaughtered by the shadow guards, to the point that even he didn't know how many soldiers were left. North City Camp. Lu Yuan murmured a sentence. Earlier after Yuxiang finished scouting Bayong City's intelligence, he had also reported to him the situation of the North City Camp. It was the garrison area for the entire army of Bayong City. Even the troops brought by Zhao Kuanying were also garrisoned there together. Are they all in the North City Camp? That makes it convenient. Lu Yuan chuckled. If these soldiers had scattered in defeat, it would have been hard for him to hunt them down one by one. But now that they are all gathered together, it's the perfect opportunity to annihilate them in one fell swoop. Opposite him, Jiang Shiqing had no idea what Lu Yuan was thinking. Hearing Lu Yuan ask about the number of soldiers, Jiang Shiqing's mind instantly became active. This Lu Yuan is probably intending to absorb and incorporate those soldiers, right? He is currently in rebellion. He must be in urgent need of military support. And as the city lord of Bayong City, having cultivated Bayong City for many years, he had somewhat of a prestige within Bayong City. If Lu Yuan wanted to smoothly occupy Bayong City and smoothly incorporate those defeated troops, he would definitely need to rely on his hands. Thinking of the pros and cons in this relationship, Jiang Shiqing couldn't help but straighten his back. Humph. When the time comes, if this Lu Yuan wants to ask me to step forward, it definitely won't be that easy. I'll let him eat some dirt first. By then, with an army of over 100,000 in hand, even if Lu Yuan wants to touch me again, he'll have to weigh the consequences. Jiang Shiqing thought smugly in his heart. Wait until he returns to a proactive position. He would definitely make Lu Yuan regret his arrogance today. To actually dare not to put an elder like him in his eyes. The abacus in Jiang Shiqing's heart was clicking loudly. However, upon returning to his senses, he found that Lu Yuan had already walked far away. Vaguely, Lu Yuan seemed to be saying something like, another massive sum of luck points or something similar. Luck points? What is that thing? Jiang Shiqing furrowed his brows. He had an inexplicable feeling that this term would have an extremely profound impact on him. Hurry up and walk. Don't play any tricks. At this time, Mo and the others surrounded him and urged him. Seeing Mo and the others acting as if they were driving cattle, Jiang Shiqing dared to be angry but didn't dare to speak. He held an even deeper grudge in his heart. He thought to himself that if Lu Yuan came to beg him later, he must definitely put on some airs and string him along for a period of time. Let's see how without him Lu Yuan goes about subduing those 100,000 plus troops. However, Jiang Shiqing did not know that if it were based on common sense, his calculations were indeed quite good. Unfortunately, however, Lu Yuan did not belong to that segment of people bound by common sense. The North City Camp, as its name implies, was set up in the north of the city. Knowing the location of the remaining broken forces, Lu Yuan did not have the army enter the city either. He directly issued orders to the crowd. Yuan Zhuozong, lead the Dragon Cavalry to the North City Camp and directly uproot the camp. Gao Shun, you lead the Xianjin Camp. Coordinate with the Dragon Cavalry's operations, and simultaneously take control of the major gates of Bayong City. To take over the entire Bayong City. Yuxiang, contact your drizzle personnel in Bayong City. Secretly keep an eye out for anyone acting suspiciously, and firmly note them down for me. Mo, lead the Shadow Guards to patrol Bayong City. If there are any who take the opportunity to cause chaos, execute them on the spot. Lu Yuan issued the orders methodically. Yes. Lu Yuan's several major subordinates all accepted their orders and departed, beginning their operations. At this time, Su Chu eagerly trotted over to Lu Yuan's side. What about me, Lord? Su Chu grinningly leaned his large face closer. All the other half-saints had tasks. As a battle maniac, Su Chu's heart was itching terribly too. You. Lu Yuan secretly cast a glance at Jiang Shiqing beside him. This old geezer. He couldn't dare to let him out of his sight and control. You just stay by my side. Guard against unexpected situations. And act as a reserve. Lu Yuan said indifferently. Now that his subordinate experts had all been dispatched out, he had no one else besides Li Sandao by his side. Keeping Su Chu by his side would mean that in case any unexpected situation happened, he would at least have someone to use. Ah. Hearing this, Su Chu's face was full of disappointment. Once again there was no task for him. He had just chopped 2 people. His excitement had just peaked, and now it was gone again. At this moment Mo, who hadn't gone far, transmitted her voice coldly and clearly to Su Chu. Su Chu. Take good care of the Lord's safety. Pay special attention to that Zhang Chenning. If anything threatens the Lord's safety, I will not let you off. Su Chu turned his head and saw Mo staring at him with a cold face. Su Chu immediately gave an awkward laugh. At this moment he also realized the Lord's safety was much more important than anything else. Don't worry, Sister Ing. Leave it to me. Su Chu similarly transmitted his voice back, solemnly guaranteeing to Mo. I hope so. Before Mo left, she gave Zhang Chenning a cold glance. If the other party dared to do anything treacherous, she would definitely make this person regret coming into this world. The North City camp. Previously Zhang Chenning had already temporarily handed over all military authority to the commandant of Liangzhou. This Liangzhou commandant was named Chen Jinju. He was also a powerhouse at the peak of the martial ancestor realm. At this time when Chen Jinju learned that Bayong city was captured by Lu Yuan, and that Lu Yuan's large army was on its way, he had also assembled all the troops and horses within the major camp. Damn it! How is it so sudden? Is that Lu Yuan really that powerful? Bayong city was actually breached just like that. And that Zhao Kuanying. What a useless idiot. Leading an army of over 100,000 to sneak attack a camp, only to be completely annihilated. Fuck. Chen Jinju cursed profusely. Tonight he had just embraced his newly taken 106th concubine, and before he even had time to get his hands on her, he suddenly received the urgent military report from his subordinates. This left him bewildered, while at the same time, he also felt a wave of anger. Damn it. A bunch of trash. So many people fighting a trash prince. And they still let the other party turn the tables. It even implicated him, making him unable to enjoy his night of passion. Upon hearing Chen Jinju's curses on the side, the generals from the Imperial Guards all had somewhat ugly expressions on their faces. Although that Zhao Kuanying was indeed a fool. But no matter what, Zhao Kuanying was also the leader of their Imperial Guards. For Chen Jinju to curse like this was undoubtedly rubbing the face of their Imperial Guards in the dirt. General Chen. It's a bit inappropriate for you to say that. Our General Zhao is after all a Grand General personally appointed by the female Emperor. How can he be insulted by a lowly commandant like you? An Imperial Guard leader stood forward with an unsightly face and said angrily. Hearing this, Chen Jinju's eyes instantly narrowed, and a fierce light immediately flashed in his pupils. What the F***ck do you think you are? Daring to come and point fingers at me? So what if I say all your Imperial Guards are trash? You are just a bunch of trash anyway. As for your General Zhao, I say he is even more like a pile of dog sh*t. F*** king dog-like things. Tui. Chen Jinju roared furiously. Originally his mood tonight was already terrible. Now these words from the Imperial Guard leader were undoubtedly adding more oil to the fire of his anger. You. Hearing this, the Imperial Guard leader's face changed drastically. You what you? I think you are looking for death. Chen Jinju let out an angry roar. The aura of a peak martial ancestor was released directly. In a split second, the terrifying aura made everyone around involuntarily hold their breath. The group of people who were just complaining and muttering instantly shut their mouths. Sensing the terrifying aura on Chen Jinju's body, the words the Imperial Guard leader had just wanted to speak were unwillingly and forcefully swallowed down. He couldn't afford to provoke him. He was only an early-stage martial ancestor, facing Chen Jinju, a peak martial ancestor, and a powerhouse who was only one step away from stepping into the half-saint realm. The pressure was truly immense. Humph! This Imperial Guard leader snorted coldly, just wanting to drop the matter and smooth things over. However, just as he resentfully turned to retreat, Chen Jinju suddenly launched an attack. Damn it! Did I let you move? Chen Jinju shouted angrily. He raised his hand, and a palm of spiritual energy tightly wrapped around the Imperial Guard leader's neck. Although that Imperial Guard leader was also a martial ancestor like Chen Jinju, their strengths were worlds apart. Not to mention Chen Jinju had launched a sudden surprise attack, which left him with absolutely no defense. He was directly grasped firmly. Although this Imperial Guard leader resisted desperately. The spiritual energy palm squeezing his neck grew tighter and tighter. On his neck where veins bulged out. Red marks were choked into his skin. His face even turned the color of pig liver from suffocation. Seeing Chen Jinju suddenly lash out, the crowd nearby instantly looked at Chen Jinju with terror. Audacious Chen Jinju. We are the Royal Imperial Guards. Directly under the command of the female emperor. You actually dare to attack us. I think you are courting death. General Chen, let go quickly. He is about to be choked to death by you. The crowd instantly descended into a mess. The Imperial Guard's side were naturally not ones to take a loss quietly. Immediately surrounding Chen Jinju tightly. But this was after all the North City camp. It was Chen Jinju's territory. Let me see who dares to move. Motherf asterisk curs. I found you capital masters displeasing to the eye for a long time. The two sides instantly drew their swords and bent their bows. Finally, just as that Imperial Guard leader was about to be choked to death, Chen Jinju finally let go. The spiritual energy palm slowly dissipated. With a thud, the Imperial Guard leader fell to sit on the ground. His eyes bulging as he gasped for air with a wide mouth. The gaze he directed at Chen Jinju again was already full of terror. He's crazy. This Chen Jinju really has immense audacity. He actually really attacked their Imperial Guards. Has he not considered the consequences of doing this? Truly cheap bones. You won't behave unless you take a beating. This is just a lesson for now. To make you understand. I won't give you the chance to bark like a dog whenever you want. Chen Jinju sneered coldly. The disdain in his eyes overflowing onto his face. Facing Chen Jinju's mockery. Every single one of the Imperial Guards present clenched their fists tightly. But none of them dared to lash out. There was no helping it. The circumstances were stronger than the people. They had no choice but to lower their heads. Wait until they returned. They must definitely report to the female emperor. And make this dog pay the price. In the end, this Imperial Guard leader still didn't die by Chen Jinju's hands. But Chen Jinju's goal of establishing dominance had already been achieved. All right. Since there are no problems now, then do things according to my instructions. Let me make the ugly words clear up front. If anyone outwardly obeys but secretly opposes my orders, don't blame me for being impolite. Chen Jinju arrogantly warned the crowd. As a native here, and also the powerhouse with the highest cultivation present, Chen Jinju was the sky here. Then Chen Jinju issued combat orders to the crowd. Although Lu Yuan's large army had an illustrious reputation, Chen Jinju never once thought about running away. Holding an army of over 100,000 in his hands, he didn't believe he couldn't defeat Lu Yuan. If he became famous from a single battle, he would be considered to have brought glory to his ancestors. Rumble rumble. Not long after, the dragon cavalry arrived on schedule. 100,000 dragon cavalry galloped, making the entire earth tremble. A vast expanse of white armor, carrying the dense oppressive feeling of an avalanche crashing down on heaven and earth. Seeing the dragon cavalry's fierce and surging momentum, a touch of panic couldn't help but rise in the hearts of everyone in the north camp. So terrifying. Is it really possible to defeat this force? What are you panicking for? Don't panic. Prepare the arrows and crossbow ballistas. Prepare to engage the enemy. Chen Jinju shouted angrily. To be honest, the moment he saw this army, the originally supremely confident Chen Jinju suddenly felt unsure too. But as the commander-in-chief, Chen Jinju still hurriedly suppressed the panic in his heart, and feigning calmness ordered his subordinate soldiers to prepare to engage the enemy. The North City camp, as its name implies, was merely a major camp for garrisoning troops. The camp walls couldn't compare to the majesty of Bayong cities. It was just small mounds built up with mud and a few bricks and tiles. Looking at the simple and poor-quality city walls, a disdainful smile appeared on Yuan's Wuzong's face. This kind of wall, the dragon cavalry could smash it to pieces with a single charge. After all, the power of heavy cavalry was no joke. Dragon cavalry, form ranks and charge. Yuan's Wuzong directly issued the order to charge. Against this kind of enemy, simply bulldozing them with a mighty army was enough. There was absolutely no need for any tactics. On the walls of the North Major Camp, watching the white-armored heavy cavalry starting to gradually accelerate, everyone's palms began to sweat nervously. The sense of oppression the dragon cavalry gave them was truly too great. It even gave them the feeling that At this moment, the only sound between heaven and earth was the pounding of horse hooves. Imperial guards. Ready the dragon-hunting crossbows. Fire one volley rapidly. Then abandon ranged attacks. And everyone prepare for close-quarters combat. On the city wall full of tense atmosphere. This voice was particularly jarring. An Imperial Guard commandant, based on his past experience, nervously issued an order to his subordinate soldiers. But it was precisely such an ordinary order that brought him fatal disaster. You there. Can you King tell who the big boss is here? This place is under my command now. It's not your turn to dictate things. Chen Jinju's face was full of tyrannical hostility. And the tyrannical aura on his body slowly rose. Right now in his heart, he was already suffocated by the immense pressure of the dragon cavalry. And this Imperial Guard commandant became his outlet. There was no reason. Or he only needed to find a fabricated excuse to let him vent the pressure in his heart. That Imperial Guard commandant was slightly taken aback. This order he just gave. Was it wrong? It wasn't wrong. It was very suitable for the current battlefield situation. General Chen. We are the Royal Imperial Guards. We have our own combat methods. You do not need to doubt. However, before this commandant could finish his sentence, his chest was directly pierced through by Chen Jinju's punch. The Imperial Guard commandant looked at the large hole in his chest in disbelief. Even up to the moment of his death, he didn't understand where exactly he had gone wrong. This is my battlefield. I am the commander-in-chief, I have the final say. If anyone oversteps their authority to give orders again, don't blame military law for being ruthless. Chen Jinju said with eyes full of gloom, bossing people around right beside him. Isn't it annoying?